Do mine. Hello, Gooners! Gooners and Goonies. It's Pineapple with another video. This is after the Spider-Man video that I reacted to from Collins, if I ever release that. So this is after that. Just to give y'all a date. Why the new sweater? Why not the Kanye sweater? Why not the nice looking Christmas sweater? I had problems editing the green screen. I know. It was black and gray. I don't know how I fucked it up. But real niggas fuck shit up. Even if it's shit they like. So now we got this orange sweater. Still no haircut though. Don't get too excited. I'm here with the most uncreative nigga I know. Uncreative stranger. Yes. Yes. We're reacting to Legend of Korra is Garbage. Here's Why by Lily Orchard. Shout out. Look, I heard about some things about her on the internet. Kinda toxic. Makes smut My Little Pony stuff, apparently. Got a lot of pedophile stuff in there.
What?
I don't know. I do know. I watched the video on there earlier. So why am I watching her video? Because it's not doing anything harmful, guys. None of my audience will be new to this woman. I was gonna say bitch.
I haven't even pressed record. I feel like I should have earlier because now
I was gonna say bitch, but I'm not gonna say bitch. I'm gonna say woman. Woman's rights. We just got done watching Korra. Me and Uncreative. Yes, we have. Yep, and with that, after we get done watching Korra, we're like, hey, we should watch this video on Korra that's about Korra. Yeah. So, you know what we're doing? We're watching this video. Licks lips. Maliciously.
Okay, I'm gonna
bites it.
Record button. In 1, 2,
now he's doing his
3.
intro. Listen.
Hello, strangelings. Welcome back to this cringe fest. I'm here with
Pineapple Gender.
Yep. Yeah, we're back in this hell. We're actually going to be watching The Legend of Korra is Garbage, and here's why. We just finished watching Korra together, so now for some reason, he's a sadist and wants to watch it again, except with another commentary that's about to put it down. I felt like I did that enough when we first watched it. I actually like Korra. I just don't like certain plot devices that they chose. I don't know anything about this creator. This is my first time hearing about them. Apparently, according to Pineapple, there's some unsavory things about this creator. I'm just gonna say I don't endorse anything, but let's watch her. Yeah. Woo! And don't do drugs.
Guys, I did not mouth the words I endorse everything. No, I didn't mouth those words.
I guess if you want to know, you're gonna have to go at youtube.com Pineapple Gender.
Hey, don't go on my shit. Don't go on my shit. Dude, hey.
So be careful going there, because God, finding his account is a pain in the ass.
Oh, it is. My shit is locked away, hidden, nigga. It's probably because I said the N-word so much.
Is one of those TV shows. The shows everyone saw as a kid and loved, and then rediscovered as an adult and loved even more. It's one of the few children's shows that ages well with its audience, where it has just enough deeper themes that said second viewing makes you appreciate all the little things it did to keep your parents engaged while you forced them to sit through it as a kid so you could watch the evil lady get beaten by the other lady. This enduring...
My parents didn't watch cartoons with me. So I can't relate to this. I know who parents watch cartoons with their kid. I'm gonna be honest. Shout out to parents who actually do that. I feel bad for you. Teen Titans Go, am I right? Oh, see, I'm a millennial.
Spawned, among other things, a feature film directed by M. Night Shyamalan that committed the two biggest mistakes that any film adaptation could make: trying to condense a 10-hour multi-threaded story down to just a 2-hour film, and making in live action
not in game,
that
nigga.
No
There's no game here.
I
just shoot myself about to watch this
stop
movie.
And think that maybe the show was animated for a reason, and so perhaps if we're making a film out of it, we should just make an actual film with a new story and not do it in live action, because that would be stupid. It's like a precursor to Warcraft.
You would tweak out about the Netflix live action?
Oh, it's a she. Pause right there. There's a reason why I've been calling her a whole time. It's a she. They're trans.
I retract those statements, guys. The uncreative community has failed today. My informants did not tell me of these developments.
You gotta make an apology video now.
Yeah, but where's the guitar? The ukulele?
The only thing I groomed is my 2 Persian cats.
Dude, I'm Mexican. I gotta play that.
I'm not a groomer.
Almost all of those.
Just a loser. Dude, with the hand signs and shit. I'm not a groomer. Just a loser.
Jeez.
You didn't see what I just did, but it was fucking hilarious.
Yep.
What have you done? Sometimes the hand of fate must be forced.
The mistakes of the film were obvious to anyone. If Nickelodeon wanted
me when I try to pull out. When I try to pull out and she wraps her legs around me. What are you doing? Sometimes the hands of fate. No! Need to be forced.
to make more Avatar, they would have had to move on to a new story and keep the blended animation style that made it unique in the first place. And that's exactly what they did by making The Legend of Korra.
Ooh.
This show is terrible. It spends most of its time playing Remember This to the previous show and never really develops an identity on its own. Like
that's why we're reacting to the video, nigga. They haven't made a real point yet.
Trying to position itself as the grown-up alternative to the original series. And what we end up with is a prime example of how not to do a sequel series. It doesn't just fail on its own merit.
I'm surprised they didn't treat Aang like Jesus. I'm just saying.
No, they did. That's where the acolytes are from.
No. I get it. They treated him like Jesus. But as a Jesus fan, y'all know I'm Christian. As a Jesus fan, Jesus is mad ripped, right? Why isn't Aang ripped? Why does Jesus?
He was too humble.
Why did Jesus get shredded abs that can kill a man? And some other nigga like Aang did not get that. Okay. Jesus got shredded abs, and I'm just saying, all that nigga did was cure a blind man. He gets abs on everything, nigga. On paintings, on the cross. That's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy, dude. He cured the blind guy. He split fish in water in infinite ways. Pretty impressive. But that doesn't mean that nigga put in the hard work and effort that it takes to get abs.
He was a carpenter.
And?
He carried trees.
Okay, Crown. I want to, since we're on this subject, when have you seen a non-sleeper build construction worker, carpenter, Yeah, now you don't wanna argue because they got that fucking gut. Because they got the gut. They got the fucking gut. They got the gut, and the gut has no abs, and they got muscle, but the muscles aren't seen.
For every 2 videos, we've done another. Okay. For every 1 minute, there's 2 minutes. Oh god.
All I'm saying, nigga, is that Aang didn't get the Jesus treatment. Why doesn't Aang have crippling abs? Why am I not looking at Aang's statue and being like, damn, nigga, you kind of, hubba, bazinga, you know what I'm saying? But it's not like that. Why they do Aang like that? That's what we really need to focus on.
It ends up making The Last Airbender seem like a freak accident that we got to experience by sheer luck. So join me as we dive into every possible detail of why The Legend of Korra fails.
Have you seen
because I had to
video,
rewatch the series to write this down.
I've seen it. Let's go back. 6 years ago. I was like a freshman. I'm 20 now. What's 6 years ago?
Getting old, Gramps.
Nigga, this nigga's 22. Yeah, you better, hey, calm down, youngster. Calm down, youngster. Alright? Alright? You're gonna see the other side of my belt if you keep playing with me. Boy.
I'm gonna beat your stupid ass.
Dude, I had to lick my lips for that. What I was saying was, I seen this shit when I was in middle school, and I was a big fan. Of being a contrarian. And I never watched Korra. And I took all my opinions from Korra from this video. And then when I grew up, I changed my opinions and watched the show like 3-4 times and then formed my own opinion. But then I kept forgetting. And then I watched the show again. Okay, not 3-4 times. I watched the show like once halfway through, then I got bored.
Damn thing, and if I had to suffer, so do you.
Don't this make you? Nah. Okay, can't do that. I forgot. I'm with another YouTuber. I can't do that one.
Okay, guys.
Yeah, you just avoided racism. Can we get a racism tally mark? Can we get a tally whenever I be like racist, transphobic, or homophobic? Like,
excuse me.
So we can mark it on the board. We can like mark it on the board and tally up the points after. Cause you know I turn hella homophobic when watching Korra.
Okay, let me see if I can do this. Let me
get the tally marks up. Guys, I'm not happy about it. I'm not smiling about it. I do try and be better. I do try and change. You guys just don't know how hard it is.
Racist. Counter. Actually, I'm just gonna put pineapple counter. People will know if they watch the video.
They'll know. They'll know.
So far, 1.
Yeah, so far 1. Yeah.
Nah, I just had to put pineapple racist counter. I gave it the full title. People gotta know.
By the way, for intro, like the music and the editing was actually pretty good for something that was made 6 years ago. Just wanna shout that out. That shit really hyped up the intro a lot. So I'm here for it.
All hype of the intro died.
In an attempt to present fairness, because people like to pretend that I'm always negative for no reason, I'm gonna start by listing out all the things I liked about Korra. I'm not against the series trying to court a more mature audience than its predecessor, especially since most of the people who grew up watching Avatar were likely already in their late teens when Korra came out.
No, that makes sense.
There's a difference between a show trying to aim higher than its predecessor out of a genuine desire to do something new, and a show getting stuck up its own ass because the creators are one of those insufferable pieces of trash who think cartoons being at their best when they're aimed at children is some sort of negative stigma that we need to
talk about things being stuck up their ass. I just took a massive share earlier before this video starts, and let me tell you, that shit had me tearing up, guys. I'm telling you, eat a high fiber diet. Don't eat junk food. It's not worth it.
Fight against. And despite all its problems that its attempt at a more mature take on the source material brings, Korra is very clearly pitching its tent in the former category.
Look at those fucking shoulder pads. I hate how straight they are. I never got to say this while we were watching, but I hate how straight the shoulder pads are.
I mean, they're weapons, so it doesn't matter.
I overall like...
Does it matter? Yes, it does.
You can bend them at any point in will, brother.
Dude, she can bend me at any point in will. Okay.
I'm pause the video.
The application of bending and how its many different uses are so thoroughly explored, even though I'm going to complain about it later. The ability to power an electrical grid with lightning as a sort of blue-collar job for firebenders is a wonderful touch to the series' attempt to modernize the technology.
Dude, I remember I was talking about this, about one of the things I love about Korra, and that's the expansion on technology and thoughts put on the first Avatar. Like the whole, like... we talked about it a lot when we were watching Korra, when we talked about motorized bending, like old-fashioned bending versus motorized bending, which is like short and quick, compared to old-fashioned bending, which is like you need like hella movement. I love it. I love how it evolves. You got anything to say?
No comment.
And show.
No comment on a reaction video.
I mean, what do you want me to say? The brother that we modern. You talked about everything we said.
Okay, all right.
Showcase how much has changed in the 60 years since the 100-year war.
More like uncreative gator.
Of everything else. I honestly think the modernized aesthetic would have been better served by incorporating more bending and less generic steampunk 1920s Murica. I love how metal bending is.
That's wrong. I disagree with that fully.
Yeah. I used to say, I enjoyed the modernized. We get to see how bending's getting outdated.
Exactly. I think them leaning on technology being more of a focus than bending being the focus is fucking amazing. Is far more amazing. Because it shows you there will be a point in time where bending becomes second to technology. That's very important.
We were getting to that point when we were seeing that fight scene in spoilers, by the way. In season 4, I believe. Yeah, it was season 4. And you were like, oh, bend the metal. And I was like, God, it's platinum. and the mecha had lightning, fire, like it just had every quote unquote bending type in the mech that they could just use against our main protagonists, Bolin and Varric and Julie.
Exactly.
Expanded on with the many different applications for a single sheet of metal. Kuvira exploiting the metal shoulder guards on most of her soldiers to mimic Darth Vader's choking gimmick showcases a level of attention to detail, at least as far as the visuals go, that you don't often see in animated shows.
Takes the shoulder
the Legend
metal
of Korra
pads off my
consisted
suit.
entirely of moments like
I think this is actually a very important Kavara moment, because it shows that she doesn't have the metal pads there to protect people or as an extra layer of protection. She has it as a control. You having metal pads there, which she ultimately wants, right? You having metal pads there means that you're under her control at all times. If she wants to kill you, she can kill you. If she wants to throw you off, she can throw you off. It is quite literally a control mechanism, especially if you notice that most metal benders, they don't use those pads up there. That is not what they use. They have wrist things that they use as weapons. That's what they use. That is quite literally for her control.
But what's weird is that no one weaponizes the pads. Like, even though like there's metal benders on both sides.
I really think it's because it's like a dick move. Once again, it's the equivalent of turning on and off your lightsaber.
The honor system.
Yeah, the honor system can be too much of a dick.
like
but you do raise a good point.
this, it would have been the best show ever made. You remember how in The Last Airbender, Hama taught Katara just how much the ability to bend could be pushed given just a little resourcefulness? The Legend of Korra took that idea right up to 11, with every single school of bending finding new and unique ways to exert control over the elements. Making use of small details to affect things in such a massive way is a far smarter and more creative approach to combat design than just hit it with a bigger laser beam, even though that's exactly what the show ends up doing most of the time. Bending was always perfectly suited for combat pragmatism, even in The Last Airbender, where big pillars of fire were always considerably less impressive than the small ways a bender could fuck you up. Also, Legend of Korra gave rise to the single coolest bending technique ever. Holy shit! Are you seeing this? That's fucking lava! Everyone was obsessed about, oh, Zaire suffocated the Earth Queen. Fuck that! This guy's bending fucking lava! I like this line from Kuvira.
And don't pretend
lava
that
bending
people
was already a thing in Aang's comics. Just gonna say that.
I think no one cared because it was based off of intentions. Zahir killing her was what you would call, well, what you called it out, because you're like, each core villain has like a character defining moment, which like shows you that they can't quote unquote be redeemed, and that was his like character defining moment. That nigga was just a groupie. He was a follower. That's it, right? So a nigga having a follower having magma bending or lava bending is not as impressive as a leader having air bending. Does that make sense? Because he's just gonna follow him, Zahir, no matter what. If Zahir stopped fighting, that nigga probably would quit.
I mean, yeah, he even followed Zahir as a lava bender when he didn't have any bending type. He was just a normal human, which shows
exactly.
Yeah.
Quite literally just a fucking follower.
Yeah,
Put you where you
but
are.
what I'm mentioning was
know
that like she's making the point of no one cared about lava bending, but I'm saying that like, oh well, probably because Roku was the official first lava bender, and in comics taught a lava bender. Like it wasn't really the first time we've seen lava bending, so it wasn't all the hype.
Okay, so it was because even I'm pretty sure they said it in the show, like it's just a rare ability. It wasn't unheard of, just rare.
Yeah, like if 1 in 100 people can metal bend, it's 1 in a million can lava bend.
Well, which we figured out everyone can metal bend with enough time and teaching.
Yeah, it's just actually about teaching. The inept potential does not fucking matter.
What happens to cities who don't want to hand over control to you?
Then you know what's coming for Zhaofu.
I'll let her come at me.
In fact, I like every line from Kuvira, even though I'm gonna complain about her later. She's the only character in this series who looks as tired of all the main character's shit as I was by this point, and pretty much hands everybody's ass to them on a silver platter while they're busy spouting platitudes and—
Dude, what I would be to be in that guy's position.
doesn't bother fucking around. I really like Tenzin. He's a far more interesting character than Korra herself, with having to live with the responsibility of rebuilding the air nomads after his father's death, along with having to teach airbending to Korra, who's somehow more bratty than the 10-year-old Aang. His sense of responsibility to his heritage really comes to fruition in the 3rd season, where he fights the entire Red Lotus, and the camera just pans away as they're beating the shit out of him, like it's too painful to watch such a lovable character get hurt, which is more dignity than Korra herself gets not 2 episodes later. And speaking of season 3, after Zaire is is finally defeated by all the characters who aren't complete failures at everything, he starts yelling about how chaos is the natural order of things, and how the revolution has already begun, and a bunch of other anarchist libertarian bullshit, and Bolin literally puts a sock in it! That's fucking amazing! It's the only genuinely funny moment Bolin gets in the entire series. And
what the fuck? I am not here for Bolin slander.
I don't think it's the only thing. I do think that they downplay my boy Bolin too much.
Nigga, wah. By the way, bro, if I was Bolin, I would turn that shit into lava. That nigga would have died there. That shit would have been his tomb. I would have been like, yeah, nigga, fuck you. What are you doing? Lava.
Korra then would have been stuck in PTSD for the rest of the show.
I don't give a fuck about raging gorilla lesbo. What the fuck?
Pause the shit.
Nigga, we got Bolin.
And I love it. Also, I love this guy.
Yeah, I'm really surprised Bolin, like, was
and
not
speaking of season 2, I really like the
season.
Civil War storyline before the writers abandoned it to chase as much fanficky bullshit as they possibly can, and thinking that Vaatu is a compelling idea and explaining the Avatar cycle. If this season had stuck with its complicated and messy Civil War storyline...
Hold on. The Civil War storyline was not that complicated. It was. Nigga got betrayed and kicked out.
It was. You just weren't paying attention because you were like done with us.
No, bro.
You literally were so done with the plotline. You left for 2 episodes. Don't even start that.
No, bro. It wasn't that fucking complicated. It wasn't that complicated.
Bro.
The Civil War arc was preceded by one nigga. It was pushed by one nigga. That is not a Civil War arc. If the only reason you're doing a Civil War is because of one nigga, because we did not hear any of the troops openly agree with this nigga, right? And because of that, we know it was perpetuated by the nigga who got Vaatu under control.
I mean, are we not gonna talk about the soldier that like got one snowball and was about to like just murk a child?
Yeah. Well, what the fuck? What the fuck that got to do with anything?
Clearly they agreed with the cause if they were just down with like not murking a child, but like waterbending him just for not being cool with the opposition.
So you're saying we have not seen illustrated in Korra military niggas abusing their power when they're given power, even if they don't agree.
No, it's not like there was a 4th season to represent that.
Okay. I'm just saying. So if they don't outwardly and openly agree with this nigga,
but isn't that like us being just needing to be spelt out shit? Sorry.
No, it's not because it's very important. It's very important. Especially with a Civil War plot, right? When we Civil Warred, America, guys, yeah, we're based in America. When we Civil War against the British, it wasn't George Washington saying, "Damn, these British people suck." It was everybody saying, "Damn, these British people suck." And that's how you can get different renditions and accounts of the Civil War. Oh, I was thinking of that Civil War, but that was like a fucking revolution. Does that count? I'm not gonna count that. Let's count the Civil War, like the American Civil War, like the for slaves and shit. If we count that one as well, it wasn't just perpetuated by one person. It was perpetuated by so many people. You can get different accounts and renditions of the Civil War, which adds up into one story. The problem is Korra's story never went into the average citizens. Like, you know what would have made a good Civil War plot? The Earth Kingdom. You know why? Because that's what they did. But before Korra, when Zahir, it really showed how people are living in poverty, right? So if they did a Civil War plot there, it would show how they feel about the other people that on the other side of the wall, right? I'm not gonna count that as a Civil War plot because it was more like an anarchy thing. There was no real military to Civil War against.
The next Avatar, like the Earth Avatar.
Yeah, the next Earth Avatar. But that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's that deep because it wasn't shown to be that deep. It was shown to be perpetuated by one motherfucker. So once you eliminate that one dude, which is the leader of the military, there will be no Civil War because we wasn't seeing through the people's eyes if they feel the same way he feels. Just because you follow someone doesn't mean you necessarily feel how they feel. It's kind of like the whole reason why people are like stuck in corporate America. So.
Touche.
Yeah, I don't think it was that big of a deal. I don't think it was that big of a deal as they pushed it. So.
And I would not be making this video because that story was just that good when the writers were focused on it, and really shows what kind of show Korra could have been if anyone on the production team was paying attention to what was working and what wasn't. And I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. A few scenes, half a season, some benders, and we're good. So on to why Legend of Korra is a horrible show that makes me want to do all the violence on the drywall in my living room.
Well, the racist counter's still at 1, right?
No. I mean, yes.
Okay, I was like, damn,
But I'm pretty sure lesbo's a slur.
Okay. I'm just gonna change pineapple. Racist / slur.
Slur counter? Okay, guys, we're going down. We're at 2.
Both The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra have massive overarching storylines, but where the two fundamentally differ is in how they deliver those stories. The Last Airbender went with the traditional Saturday morning cartoon format of each episode having its own story contained within the overarching story. This episodic format being structured by a very long-term goal proved advantageous because the story was literally taking place during a...
And nothing ever happened. Because for you guys, it was just a split second.
Yeah, that's it. Hey, that's actually crazy.
It was possible to be constantly diverting from the main plot without losing track of it. Every episode was simultaneously building up the world and the characters while also making meaningful contributions to the ultimate end goal of defeating the Fire Lord. Humor me for a minute. How many filler episodes does The Last Airbender have? 1. Just 1. The Tales of Ba Sing Se, a series of several character vignettes that exist to create the illusion of time passing between set pieces.
Look, brother.
I think that's kind of true, actually. I don't think there's any other filler.
Look, y'all not ready for the take, but I believe filler does not exist. I believe some episodes can be useless, but I do not believe filler exists. Because with each filler of a show you get, it just leads to more character interactions, into more outlook on the character. Even the craziest anime's plot lines, it really shows you how the character will react in the craziest situations. I think filler's good. I think filler's actually really good. You can call it filler. I personally don't call it filler. When I will eventually watch Bleach, I'm watching all of it because I want to actually like see those characters in those scenarios, even if it has nothing to do with the main plot.
Good man.
I want is a full feeling in my stomach.
I'm not watching Bleach.
I'm starving.
Nope, that one isn't filler. You're literally watching a Fire Nation propaganda film in that one. You couldn't possibly get any more relevant to a literal culture war than that. The broad idea of a world at war was the best possible framing device for an episodic series. This meant that The Last Airbender got all the benefits of a serialized show with none of the downsides. Or rather, without the downside, the absence of a conclusion. One of the big reasons serialized shows rarely leave the same mark that episodic shows do is because each episode only exists to set up the next one. This sacrifices one of the most critical elements of any good story, the ending. A good story is only truly satisfying once it's ended, and in a serialized show that usually doesn't come until the season finale. So for the rest of the year, you're just being strung along by a creator on the promise that eventually one day something interesting will happen that won't just be a tease for future episodes. These are problems that most people don't see, as by the time they come across a series, it's already over and been put up on Netflix for another extremely unhealthy...
Okay, I don't know why this side argument's happening, but cool.
I think personally that this person is confused between good writing and bad writing. Even when it comes to serialized shows, they're supposed to be intrigued in that episode. Like even in serialized shows, they're supposed to be intrigued in that episode. A good serialized show will have episodes that can stand alone on their own. Some serialized shows don't do that. And when I mean most live action drama or thriller shows don't do that. Because they are based on, if you watch the next drama or thriller episode. Me personally, I don't like that. That's why I don't watch those shows. But what I do know is, even shows that are serialized can have episodes that stand on their own. And a lot of the episodes, especially good shows that are serialized, have wonderful episodes that stand alone on its own. Some people want to call Rick and Morty episodic. Episodic with some serialization. I disagree. I think the story was kind of going on throughout the whole background. But that's just a me personal thing. If I'm thinking of a show right now, I would be thinking of which show?
Regular show.
Oh, regular show. Ooh, that's good. Because regular show has good serialized and episodic adventures. I was gonna say South Park, new South Park. The episodes is serialized. It's one continuous story throughout the whole season, and it's serialized. And all those South Park episodes can stand alone on its own. Naruto. Shit, it's a reason why niggas can watch shows on TikTok. Because a lot of episodes, even if it is serialized, can stand alone on its own. It's bad writing that you gotta worry about. Where it's like, hey buddy, jingle jingle, jingle jingle. See guys, I don't have boobs. I don't have boobs or keys, so this joke won't work right. But just imagine I had big honkers right now.
By the way, for people on my side of the video, the reason my avatar keeps like going back and forth is not because I'm like shaking, it's because I'm eating chips on the side.
Jingle jingle, jingle jingle. The next episode's coming. You should watch it. We don't do that shit anymore, guys. We have good writers now. For shows. I'm not gonna speak on movies. Madam Web.
So glad I didn't use it as a
The Legend of Korra.
Dude, I'm telling you, horniness couldn't save Madam Web. And the main lead actress is bad as fuck.
Korra is one such show, stretching out a single plot line for an entire season. And not only does this mean that there isn't a single episode aside from the finales that has a conclusion you can feel satisfied about, it also means that the creators have made it extremely difficult to do the one thing that made The Last Airbender so adored in the first place. When you look at some of the most beloved episodes of The Last Airbender, you'll find that the most remembered episodes are the ones that deviate massively from the main story. Zuko alone, the Puppet Master, the Southern Raiders, the entire search for Appa is practically a side story. The Last Airbender has 3...
Is it? I thought the search for Apple was really testing Aang's morality.
There was nothing to test. He was gonna kill them. And by the way, that's a common thing for airbenders. Apparently in comics, if you fuck with their bison, they just kind of like throw their teachings to the wayside and just really are about killing people.
Damn.
3 seasons that take place over the course of a few months. It's a pretty short mid-series, but it always feels like it's longer than that, because every character gets their own storylines and character arcs.
They really fuck with the bison. You like them like that.
Condensed stories. Going back over the footage for this video, I was actually surprised just how much story they crammed into so few episodes. Most people's favorite episode is the Tales of Ba Sing Se, which isn't just one diversion, it's 5 diversions, one of which is completely heartbreaking. A lot of this looks like filler, but it all pays off by the final episode where each part of the group is doing something different.
Okay.
Aang is fighting the Fire Lord.
So then it's not filler. So he just admitted that it's like not actual filler. He said it looks like filler.
I believe you mean she.
She. Fuck. It's the.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yep. Changing the counter.
The voice got me, guys. The voice got me. Voice got me.
Gonna put /transphobe.
Oh my god, guys! The meter just keep going up.
Tara are fighting
By the end of
Azula,
this,
and we're constantly swapping between all of them, and each one is exciting because all these characters have gotten enough screen time apiece. Even Azula gets a lot of characterization. By contrast, none of the supporting characters in the
One thing I learned from Azula is don't fuck with crazy bitches. Am I right, guys?
I'm out of water. You have to wait the 2 hours. Oh, we're gonna be here way longer than 2 hours.
Oh yeah, they see that 10-minute counting?
They're not allowed to, because the serialized nature of The Legend of Korra doesn't allow for those necessary diversions to happen. The only
pausing, nigga?
Nah, my Gatorade's in my room. I just
okay. Close to characterization are Tenzin and Lin Bei Fong, and they're not around anywhere near as much as they should be. Meanwhile,
Amen, brother.
Tenzin, no, he's right. He's right a lot. Yeah, Tenzin did all right. Li Bei Fong, absolutely correct about that.
I thought she was talking about like them being on screen.
Yeah, being on screen. Yeah, Tenzin had a lot of screen time.
Yeah, I think Tenzin wasn't ever like an active screen time. He was always a side screen time.
I think Tenzin had enough screen time. I knew his intentions. I knew enough of his character. Li Beifong, other than Corporation Woman, I did not give a fuck.
What about the daughter?
Yeah. To me, her whole character was Corporation, nigga.
Oh, you're talking about. I was talking about like I think Tenzin's kids needed more screen time, but like not like Janora. She got too much screen time. No, I'm not gonna
that is true.
Say that. Oh, I forgot their names. Iki and Milo. Yeah. I think they needed more screen time.
I agree with that.
Supporting cast, Bolin, Mako, and Asami all get practically nothing to work with. The most we ever get is some backstory regarding their family, and even then, Mako and Bolin's are pretty copy-pasted from Batman. They get maybe a few scenes of their own, but...
Really? I thought it was a little bit more than that, from what I remember.
And in season 3, we see them meet up with their family, and then, granted, it was only for like an episode or two, but like, they kind of didn't really need to explain a lot there. I think Mako said it perfectly, like, they never had someone before, and they don't need someone now. Like, it's kind of like, why would we go deep into the story when they don't really feel...
Exactly. The whole point is that they're, like, rogue ninjas.
But nothing is flavorful and character establishment.
There's that one episode where they recap it, and then we do see them from their point of view for people who actually cared about that. We skipped that episode.
We did.
As Azula's disastrous attempt to flirt.
That's a sharp outfit, Chan. Careful. You could puncture the hull of an Empire.
I'm done bad enough. I would have fucked Azula. I'm sorry, guys. This is a red flag, but
then you would have fucking like cummed in her, and then like your kid would be like born like a non-bender, and she would be like, "I have to sentence you to death, babe," and you could be like, "No, I'm sorry. Please let me hit it one more time."
I know my sperm got some benders in them.
Technically, guys, all sperm got benders in it.
Hey there, sweet sugar cakes. How you liking this party?
She's just so socially upward, just like me.
The entire world. We will dominate the earth.
Yo, if she became a full-fledged woman, she would have been raping niggas. That is a nigga, bro. That is a hormonal nigga.
Yeah, that's right. Avatar had an entire episode dedicated to its 4 antagonists just being normal kids and hanging a lampshade on just how ill-suited they are to life in a...
I'm surprised she did not say this was filler.
Yeah, because this is very important. Like, story-wise, this is really important.
On villain setting, because they were literally bred by
Because
war.
I just want to say this. If we actually never seen, like, these humanization moments, like, shit like this, Zuko becoming good and Azula becoming, like, what? She becomes neutral in the comics, kind of?
Yeah, neutral.
Well, would have been fucking left field.
It's actually rather sad when you think about it, particularly for Azula. She's only 14, but she's so battle-hardened and accustomed to warfare that she quite literally cannot function in a peaceful setting. That's the effect that Ozai's warmongering has had on his daughter. Nobody in Korra's circle of friends or enemies gets anything close to this in 4 seasons.
I'm actually surprised she didn't mention the school arc where Aang was in.
Each
but then I just
season's
realized
plot takes place over maybe a few weeks and never gets so much as a moment to breathe. More than that, this means the show can't shake off a bad idea nearly as easily. The Last Airbender had its duds. It had stories that didn't go anywhere. It had ideas that wound up not being as interesting as the creators thought they were. But they were always able to shake themselves off and come back next week. A serialized show means you can't make those mistakes. Every season you need a brilliant story that hits every single ball right out of the park, because you can't just come back next week with a new one and try again. You gotta commit to this shitty idea. The problem is, Korra has a terrible story and misses more often than it hits.
Which season are we talking about?
I think he's talking about all of them, like how the story is serialized. I disagree with that.
I agree with that too. Some parts though, the pacing could have been way better.
I was gonna say, in any show where it has multiple seasons, if you don't hit every season out the park, it's a bad show. Even in Avatar, if you didn't hit the important plot points out the park, then it would have been considered a bad show. That can go for any show. That seems like a generalization. I'm gonna replay it back just in case I'm misunderstanding what the fuck they're saying.
Had its duds. It had stories that didn't go anywhere. It had ideas that wound up not being as interesting as the creators thought they were. But they were always able to shake themselves off and come back next week. A serialized show means you can't make those mistakes. Every season you need a brilliant story that hits every single ball right out of the park, because you can't just come back next week with a new one and try again.
Yeah, but Avatar wasn't episodic. This is a non-comparison. they had episodic like episodes, but it was actually serialized.
Or?
You gotta commit to this.
Avatar.
A shitty idea.
Okay, that's what I thought you said. Just needed.
Korra has a terrible story and misses more often than it hits, which we'll get into later. So even getting through one episode is a complete slog because each episode is 6.5 hours long, broken up by 5th grade level philosophy and extremely lazy antagonist writing. The Fire Lord wasn't much as far as villains go. He was a pretty generic fascist. He didn't need to be anything else because the story was about preparing for the fight against him. The Fire Lord...
Generic? He wasn't that generic, right? Because that was Roku's friend.
Yeah, Roku's friend, he tricked his wife into killing the Fire Lord because he had lied about the dude asking him to kill his son, which a lot of people fan theories that the dude asked Ozai to give his son to Iroh to replace him as an heir. He proceeded to be in the comics manipulating Zuko into being a quote-unquote better Fire Lord because again, when you put a teenager on a kingdom, he's gonna need advice even if it is from a tyrannical bastard. So no, I wouldn't say. I would say he was a pretty thought-out character, even if it did take some time in the comics for him to reach that point. But I thought he reached that point in the show.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was not just a generic fascist.
Then again, we only rewatched Korra. We should have probably rewatched Aang.
Oh yeah, we probably should. Hey guys.
Lord was a means to an end, as the best villains often are. His characterization was irrelevant. It didn't matter what his motivations were. He was already characterized by letting the viewer see the destruction he'd been wreaking. Fire Lord Ozai's deeper motivations were so irrelevant that they don't even show you his fate.
Oh yeah, okay. They're earthbenders. Fire doesn't. Your fire won't melt him. I mean, yeah, it's
until the last season. And only a few episodes before the finale, you get to see his baby pictures. And guess what? It has zero effect on your resolve that he has to go down because those pictures of a happy and innocent little boy don't erase the monster he would grow into. It would have only been a bad thing if the writers started to undercut this by attempting to shoehorn in some kind of moral gray area, or getting bogged down in ham-fisted philosophy while at the same time writing irredeemable scumbags as villains, which is something they ended up doing. Every villain in The Legend of Korra, except for one, is a spiteful, greedy bastard who occasionally mints their words with the philosophy of the day. Amon is a spiteful man-child exacting a purge of benders because of his abusive daddy, but positions himself as the bringer of social equality, also known as communism, to people who don't know what communism is.
Okay, wait. Pause. Don't most people who have personal goals try to align their overall goal with that personal goal? That doesn't seem complicated. That doesn't seem like a complicated thought process. If you're gonna get mad, cause, dude, if you're gonna compare that guy to fucking dude who is fascist because he is fascist, one is a far more interesting character personally. To me, is far more thought provoking. I like his character. I'm not gonna lie, because he was a force of nature, right? It was like when the Avatar, the whole show was built up to beat him, right? In the Avatar: The Last Airbender. So it was like, damn, Aang has to fight this force of nature, and we get to see the effects of this force of nature throughout the entire lands. What is he doing? You know, the destruction. But on a personal level, other than being a force of nature, what else does he fucking offer to me? Like,
so you're saying that Amon's more interesting to watch as a villain?
I'm saying Amon's philosophy is far more interesting. If I was doing, what are the fucking essays called? Where you gotta scan a character. Not the philosophies, but the writing. Character analysis. If I was doing a character analysis, I would not do it on him. Because what the fuck is there to analyze? Because we don't get the reason why he's a fascist in the show, right? Am I correct on that? We don't get that in the show? I'm just want to double check there, right?
Get why he's what?
Why he's a fascist? Why he wants the fire to rule? Other than superior technology and like normal fascist
grooming. Shit. Probably grooming, because his dad wanted that, and then when you raise a
son who wants that. But that was in the show or in the comics?
Well, no, because remember, his dad was Roku's friend. Now that's who the old guy is.
Yeah,
that's Roku's friend. And
that's Roku's friend.
Yeah, that's why. And then he made the Roku's friend forced his son to marry Roku's daughter, which is how Zuko's the grandson of
The
Roku.
grandson of Roku. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, yeah, I mean,
I get it. I mean, but
power hungry, grooming, insecurity issues, nepotism.
Nepotism is nepotism is nepotism is you can leave it as grooming. You can leave it as grooming. But personally to me, even if you add insecurities, he didn't come off as insecure, by the way. There was no hint at him being insecure, at least from my opinion, from what I remember.
A lot of people say that the reason Zuko got burned in his face is because Zuko looked a lot like him in younger years and scarred his face so that people didn't compare them because he didn't want to be outbested by Zuko.
Okay, was that a theory though, or was that like actually said in the show?
That is a theory, but people say it's heavily implied. I myself have not done a lot of research on that theory. I'm just bringing it up.
Okay. Well, I'm only doing things that are explicitly said in the show. But thank you for that theory. That's actually interesting. I'm actually gonna take the standpoint of that theory being true, right? So you add on insecurities, you add on grooming, and you add on what else did you say? Nepotism. But does the show really take time and explore that deeply? Like very deeply? Because I know we get a whole episode to Amon and his whole family dynamic.
No, unless like you want to talk about in the comics where like, oh shit! Wait, we do get told he's insecure because
Go ahead.
when Ursula or whatever the mom's name comes back and she's like, I finally see you for what you are. You're a weak man who's insecure and is just grasping for what little power he ever had, or whatever. Because she goes visits him in prison, starts talking shit to him. Which by the way, you weren't talking all that shit when he had powers.
When he was out of prison, yeah.
But yeah. That I just remember that. That was the comic where right before Azula became neutral. Yeah.
Okay, but the thing is, it was in a comic.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I don't want to discredit comic stuff, but I feel like if we're gonna look at stuff what's in the show, then we have to just compare show to show, right? If we're comparing show to comic, I don't know anything about Legend of Korra comics, so I wouldn't be able to talk about that. But
not that interesting.
Yeah,
she didn't get a lot of attention in Korra.
So, but I do know from show to show comparison, like that stuff isn't really explored, but Amon's family relationship is explored. You know what I'm saying? So the villain there comes off as a force of nature, while Amon comes to me personally as a human threat. Does that make sense? Yeah. Go ahead. I feel like you're about to say something.
No, I was thinking because I was like, damn, I just realized that Amon was a waterbending antagonist. Unalaq was a waterbending antagonist.
They had a lot of waterbending antagonists, huh?
Yeah.
But I feel like Amon was more of a person-to-person threat. Like I can see a person like Amon infiltrating the government of the real world. You know what I'm saying? I cannot see a nigga like I forgot his name. Fuck, I just said it. Ozai. I can't see a nigga like that. Ozai infiltrating the real world. At least I'm an American, guys. You gotta remember this. I'm speaking from an American point of view. I'm not talking about third world fucking countries. I'm talking about like America. I don't see a person like Ozai infiltrating the world and getting all that control, especially because our control is split up into 3 parts of the government, right? Unless he was born into it, or at least he was born into being a millionaire. So, I don't know. What do you think? Because
no comment.
Go. Okay. Because I was gonna say I do think he's a cooler villain.
Oh, got out.
I do think he's a cooler villain. By all things considered, like the fire, his destructive power, the power that he controls over the people. But if I was doing like a genuine character analysis, I would probably want to do it over to Amon, especially if I'm just doing it on the show.
Madman trying to become the lol so edgy dark avatar, but pads all this with a lot of bullshit about faith and spirituality and give yourself unto Jesus.
That's actually wrong. I think his thing was very consistent. Wait, did it change to being the dark avatar at the end? I'm pretty sure though he did the whole thing for balance, and that was his personal reason. This nigga's not even here right now.
No, I was having a coughing fit, jackass.
Oh, okay.
That's why I said it came out. That's why I said no comment earlier, because I could feel it about But I ripped. As for the thing, I mean, yeah, he did become the Dark Avatar. And he's like, this is you are the last Avatar. But I thought it was because he was dick riding the spirits and was like, spiritic qualities is like the dark spirit will take over the world and then we like remain balanced as all things should be because spirits originally reigned over the world.
Yeah.
I just think he had a really warped perception of balance.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I didn't think it was fucking, I want to become the Dark Avatar. I'm pretty sure he would have done that shit if he didn't have to become the Dark Avatar. Like, I'm pretty sure he would have done it anyway.
Then again, Zahir did say we didn't agree with Unalaq's power-hungry methods. So, like, maybe he always wanted to be the Dark Avatar?
Just for the power? Just for the power? Yeah. Maybe.
Jesus. Zaire is the only one who is actually motivated by his stated ideology, but his ideology is anarchism, which is the worst political ideology imaginable because it only exists to create a power vacuum for the 2 second worst political ideologies imaginable. He doesn't need an ulterior motive because the motive he has is already so stupid that it—
Well, I'm pretty sure Zahir's goal with that anarchy was to keep it going. He was not going to just be an anarchist. He was going to be the police of anarchy, right? So he was going to make sure niggas...
He was like, for humans to be truly free, they must be free of restraint or some shit. Like, yeah, no, he was not gonna let any kingdom arise.
Yeah, he's just gonna cut all that shit in the bud. So I think that's an unfair assessment of Zahir. I think this is I think when we're thinking about characters' ideologies, we need to come from the perspective not if they lost, if they were to die with that ideology coming to fruition. We need to think about it if they were to win and actually live in that area with that ideology, right?
I do think Zahir would have broken, though. A long time ago, you said, would Aang be able to convince... You asked me, would Aang convince Zahir? I do think he would switch up after anarchism kicked in. Because we've seen in Korra, when Korra was like, yeah, a lot of people, like, lives became shit because you killed the queen. We did see him, like, do a saddened face. He didn't comment on it, but I do think that motherfucker did not realize the extent of anarchism.
I think it was the equivalent of someone being like, I think this is a better idea and I would achieve anything to get that idea done. And then once that idea was actually realized, he was like, damn, fuck. Yeah. Maybe it wasn't that good.
Like, I don't know. I remember he was like, oh yeah, we're going to kill the president. I don't know why he thought that was a good idea. A president would, the only democratic country.
Yeah, the only country you voted on.
Yeah, like the only country voted on, even if you killed the president, a new election would happen. Like that was the least country you should have attacked first.
That shit made no sense.
Defies rationality. While the other 2 villains accidentally affect positive change by falling into it ass backwards, Zaire's anarchy does exactly what anarchy always does: create a power vacuum for authoritarianism. Firelord Ozai's motivation.
Once again, I'm pretty sure he would have policed it. Because didn't Korra go to him because he made a dictator? He was like, fuck.
Yeah, and he's like, I need to fix that.
Yeah, that motherfucker was gonna kill her herself if he could.
And we even said, like, when Korra was attacking Republic City, we're like, man, shouldn't they release Zahir, who's literally a mountain over? Like, I'm sure he would help.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think he would go around killing other niggas.
For him to die. Yeah, he stopped Korra by getting shot, like, by the laser beam or some shit. But nah, Sami's dad had to die instead.
R.I.P. That nigga died for no reason.
Simple conquest and imperialism, and that took 3 entire seasons to complete that story from start to finish. These new villains have to cram their stories into a single season, and not even a full season either. Each one is only about 12 episodes long, and the new themes are infinitely more complex than Conquest, but each one has a 1/6 of the time the Fire Lord and the gang were given. So not only is the story written in such a way that it doesn't get to have any necessary and plot important breathing room, it also has to condense all its themes down so much that it's almost inevitable that they're going to fuck something up. Unfortunately, this is the current model for television these days. They're not designed to be enjoyed in bite-sized chunks. They're designed to be binge-watched on...
Kavira... That one actually had 3... Yeah, I was going to say that had 3 years worth of preparation. We just didn't see the 3 years.
Which you can argue it's good or bad.
Yeah.
However you feel about time skips.
on streaming services. Netflix even goes as far as to release entire seasons at once, and take a while, guess what happens? That's right, people chew through the content in a few days because they have no self-restraint, and suddenly they're starved for content until next year. It's like the problem with Steven bombs cranked up to the worst possible scale. Now, the Netflix model does alleviate the constant to-be-continued cycle that plagues serialized shows, but the new problems it creates is considerably worse. I'm something of a traditionalist in this regard, and I think that going full serialization was the television industry's biggest mistake. The Last Airbender was the perfect marriage between serialized storytelling and episodic 3-act structure by using a war as a framing device that every episodic story was able to contribute to while still being its own contained plot. Remember how I mentioned that the Ember Island players recap the series by portraying it as Fire Nation propaganda? The Legend of Korra attempts a similar recap, but just has Mako, Bolin, and a handful of other characters simply recap the story, with Varric going as far as to emulate old 1920s style films. But they don't do this in the world itself. This is just...
It's actually crazy because I said something about that. I remember I said something about that. I was like, the Avatar... Every show eventually has a recap episode. It's very important that you make that recap episode unique and somewhat funny. Avatar's recap episode is unique enough to where I can watch that shit even if I watched Avatar. Korra's recap episode was just a clip montage, and so I didn't watch it.
With character input. I don't know. I liked it the first time I seen it and the second time, but like, you seen the first 3 seconds was like, oh yeah, no, we skipping that.
Yeah, I was like, fuck that, no. I'm not gonna watch a recap, especially because I was binging the show.
It's just how the flashbacks are framed. The big reason the Ember Island players worked so well was because you were seeing the story being told from the Fire Nation's perspective and how much they were lying. Even better, you got to see everyone's reaction to the play, with everyone hating it except Toph, who's loving every damn second of what's on
like,
stage.
In the recap
if the
episode, they did that
Raiders,
too, where
Tales
like,
of Ba Sing Se, and Zuko alone didn't exist, this would be the best episode of the entire series by virtue of how much...
But this one was done interestingly. It wasn't done via storytelling. I get what they're saying with this one. Because in the Korra's one, it was done by, like, me telling you the story. Just think about me telling you the story, but say, yeah, but also this nigga's super cool. While this one is an actual in-lore, like, movie.
Alright.
It's done uniquely.
Contributes just before the finale.
Fucking exposition. There we go. Think about exposition. You know bad exposition? Where it's like, you know that big tower that's owned by all those corporations that we live under? Yeah, man. Well, I'm gonna raid that motherfucker. Or some shit like that, you know? Good exposition versus, so you're new in town, right? Yeah. That's the big tower that Kyoto owns. There you go. See, it's like the fucking, it's the same thing, same words, but like it's differently. One makes sense and one doesn't. The only reason one doesn't make sense is because it's me telling another character who didn't know before in a unique way, versus me telling a character that should already know these things. Now, you could argue core characters in that instance shouldn't already know those things, but notice how I emphasize unique. It needs to be in a unique way.
By the way, we're about to hit the 1 hour mark and we're 6
This is abysmal. They had a goofy
Yeah,
recap in the
this is
original
yapping.
series, so now we have to have it here, so into the toilet we go. The sad part is that Varric retells his version as a 1920s film, but he's actually making films. So why didn't he just do that, retelling the entire story in his own Varric-y way and showing everyone? Maybe throw shade at the Last Airbender movie while you're at it. That sounds like it would have been on the table if Korra hadn't sacrificed those silly ideas on the altar of serialization. So the closest thing we get to this is Bolin playing a waterbender in Varric's propaganda.
I don't think that has nothing to do with serialization.
In the second season. If you pay attention, you can spot all kinds of opportunities for the story to divert and enrichen both the world and the characters, but because we're lashed to the main plot at all times, we never get to explore these ideas in detail. Imagine an entire episode around Tenzin teaching Mila to train lemurs, or Korra training the Toph, rather than clips of these thrown sporadically between the clips of the main plot. That's what you sacrifice when you go the route of serialization, as we have to keep yanking back to the main plot because we've made our bed in this mess, and now we have to sleep in it. If there was ever a lesson to learn from this mistake, it should be.
Wait, he's complaining about
the
lemur episode? I fucked with the lemur episode. It showed Tenzin was sad to be the only airbender that was like a master. to think of.
Never
what
let it be
thumbnail
said that
to
I'm a
use
cynic,
this.
because I really did try to like Korra. She was already starting the series with a good first impression. She's a brawler, she's got a lot of energy as a protagonist, at least in the first few episodes. She's a natural waterbender, which is the best bender, and I'll fight you on that. And you could cut a steak on her abs. Like, damn, she's buff.
You are very muscular for a woman.
Thanks. You too?
The Legend of Korra was one of the few places you could get a female protagonist that's ripped as fuck, at least until Overwatch came out. And I met Lizzie. When I learned that the new Avatar looked like this and behaved like this, I was totally on board. But as Steven Universe fans are well aware by now, an interesting premise doesn't necessarily mean that the writers are going to follow through, and here's how. Instead of having to learn the different styles of bending, Korra starts the series with a mastery of water, earth, and fire bending. And not just through starting the series later in life, she's introduced at the age of 5 bending all 3 of these elements. And she's revealed as the Avatar at a very early age,
but she's
compared to the
canonically not
16 that is known
considered
to
a
be
master
standard
at
in the
those
lore.
elements
The only
until the
element
age
she
of
has yet
17.
to master is air. This storytelling decision is often defended by fans by saying that exploring the other elements would be redundant after having spent 3 seasons with Aang learning them. However, that common defense of this story decision ignores the fact that Aang and his friends were doing other things while he was learning each element. Even when he was learning waterbending, Aang met a firebending master and learned just how dangerous firebending can be when controlled poorly. So much so that he carried a crippling fear of firebending until the final season. Aang's journey to learn waterbending brought them to the siege of the Northern Water Tribe. His mastery of earthbending was accompanied by the search for Appa and the siege of Ba Sing Se. The actual mastery of bending was a garnish to the more important stories that all tied to the 100-Year War, which was the reason they were doing all this in the first place. Describing The Last Airbender's story as Aang learning the 3 elements he has yet to master is to ignore 90% of what actually happens in the series. The bending itself wasn't the story. You could have—
That is true, but I feel like they wanted to steer away about the old focus of bending, especially because bending has become homogenized in the new core, right? So it would make no sense for you going across the land to learn how to bend, right? When the styles become homogenized.
For me, I think it would make no sense for a 19-year-old Korra, because that's what we get an adult Korra by the time the show starts.
Yes.
To only know water. Especially since she had been guarded by the White Lotus, the secret society.
Wasn't she trained by them?
Yeah.
Too? Yeah, she was also trained by them. So I think
that's why she was quote-unquote unaware of the world, because she was stuck only in White Lotus compounds.
I don't know about this. I don't agree.
You could have very easily worked similar bending lessons into the stories of each season. Considering there's 4 this time instead of 3, you wouldn't have even needed her to start out mastering water bending. There are so many ways you could have revisited the iconic bending lessons and maybe elaborated on them, considering how much bending has evolved and changed in the 60 years between Fire Lord Ozai.
Mastering things out of order is bad.
Defeat and now. That's not to say that starting in the middle of Korra's training is an inherently bad idea, but here's the million-dollar question. Why?
Go ahead.
No, because I'll say mastering out of sorts, we know it disrupts the Avatar. It doesn't disrupt the Avatar cycle, but we know the other Avatars don't fucking like it for some reason, and mostly because they won't. You need to master the practices of the bending and then use said bending practices on the next bending because the philosophies are good. That's why you need to go and learn from different places, and I think that's why Korra spammed the fuck out of airbending like a bullet instead of because she didn't pick up on any of the airbending philosophies.
Why did she need to be bending?
I agree with
at
that.
such
No,
a
I agree
young
with that. I
age?
agree with
Her
that.
parents know she's the Avatar once she starts bending all the elements, which is kind of cute and already raises a lot of interesting questions of how you handle raising a child who can bend multiple elements. The benders of each nation seem to know very little about the nuances of bending outside their own forms, so Water Tribe parents trying to help a little Korra keep control of her fire bending is itself a really good idea. But all that is hamstrung by the fact that we immediately skip ahead to when Korra is a young adult, being trained by masters as they're brought to the Southern Water Tribe. So why did this scene at the start need to exist at all? The writers already had a reasonable and workable excuse for why Korra is already proficient in 3 of the 4 styles of bending when we open on her training exercises. I've heard people complain that Korra already being able to adequately bend at such a young age makes her a Mary Sue, and while those kind of complaints are usually bullshit, it's
actually it was shown that she can't adequately bend, cause she
and has
control. Pause. I really feel like this point of view of learning the 4 bendings was replaced with learning how to fight and bend.
Yeah,
there's a difference. There's a big difference.
We literally know she discovers how to bend properly because she discovers modern bending because all the fucking White Lotus are 90-year-old dudes besides the new ones which are guards, but I'm not counting them because they're the serialized versions. All the fucking White Lotus only know old bending styles. So when Korra joins a Fire Ferret team, she literally gets told by Bolin, oh, what the hell are you doing, bro?
Yeah, like, what are you doing on that? I feel like the perfect fucking example of this is when Zahir, and I remember I called it out, because we replayed it, like, 3 times. When Zahir jumped from like, a hole, and there was a waterbender down there who was White Lotus. And I was like, Zahir beats one of the guards, and then the waterbender just brought up the water as Zahir landed in front of him. And I was like, bro, you had so much fucking time to pull out your water from the fucking canister. But you're doing all this unnecessary movement shit that Zahir dropped down and kicked your fucking ass.
Also, firebenders in the ice, in the fucking ice tomb. I'm sorry, who the fuck decided that? Because they get weaker in the North Pole. I don't know why the fuck they stationed White Lotus firebenders in there.
Yeah, I have no clue either. But the fact being is that the 4 elements thing got replaced with how to use bending while fighting, which is far more important. In Korra specifically. It's far more important in Korra specifically.
Granted more credibility by the fact that a better answer for this question is immediately presented, so why didn't the writers just go with
Korra
that?
Fighting the
That's a
gang
minor
she
petty.
doesn't have complete control. She has poor actual control. Like, she can bend, but like she doesn't understand the concept of controlling said power behind the bending.
I also want to say it's shown to us that people who can do minimalist movements is far more proficient. Toph. Korra, or whatever
Petty
the fuck her
niggle
name
regarding
is.
the storytelling, but things like this are not isolated incidents. The same people who thought this was the best way to open on the new Avatar made the rest of her character arc as well. Characters are always remarking on how strong and powerful she is, the fact that she's the Avatar is treated with awe and respect, and yet there's no faith in Korra as a character because she's constantly being set up to fail. When we open on Korra in the very first episode, she's training in a combat arena with firebenders from the Fire Nation, seemingly doing little more than sparring. We later learn that Korra's never left the Southern Water Tribe. Katara remarks how strong she is, while the White Lotus beside remarks that she lacks restraint. Because of fucking course she does! She's had teachers brought in to do little more than teach her how to apply bending and combat. She's sparring with the guards in an enclosed area. Every Avatar before her was said to have gone out on a journey across the world to find masters to teach them each element. Not a council of teachers dictating their education, but to find specific bending masters and form a bond with them.
And that's why Korra's story is unique. That's what makes her story unique.
The idea that the Avatar is traveling the world to seek out masters on their own heavily implies that they're constantly interacting with the world they're supposed to be protecting, learning firsthand the duties of being the Avatar and gaining the restraint and spiritual perspective they're supposed to have. It's not just an experience of learning to master all the different kinds of bending, it's experiencing the world and its problems.
Kyoshi had a council of teachers, because remember, they didn't know if it was June or Kyoshi, so they just were teaching them both as if they were the Avatar.
And coming out of that journey a far wiser and more mature person. Korra, by contrast, is treated like a child and educated like one even when she's a fully grown adult. The White Lotus criticizes her for ignoring the spiritual side of bending, even though that's entirely their fault. Korra herself even acknowledges that she struggles with it and wants to start her airbending training because that's 90% spirituality. The White Lotus insists she doesn't respect bending and then proceed to not teach her how to respect bending. In a hasty effort to skip past the other elements and get right into airbending, the writers have, whether by design or sheer stupidity...
No, I'm pretty sure the whole point is she refused to, like... She was like, no, I don't want to go to the Wing Tribe. Man, all this hard fucking work. Like, ooh, wasn't that the whole fucking plot? Hey, we needed a whole episode for her to be like, maybe I do want to learn at the Wind Temple.
No, I'm trying to think, because we know she ran away to get to the Air Temple because she wanted Tenzin to beat her. Then a teacher. Then Tenzin was like, "Oh, if you want to learn from me, you actually can't. You got to be like an Amish person." And Korra was like, "Oh, fuck that shit."
Yeah.
And then Tenzin was like, eventually seen her spar and was like, "Ah, maybe she needs this." So I think she kind of won the argument, didn't she?
It was kind of like you're your own person, but the fact being is, they had all right not to train her in that shit, because if Tenzin's the only nigga that can train her in that shit, then if she doesn't want to become Amish, what is Tenzin supposed to do?
Created a character that is doomed to fail at every possible opportunity.
Also, like, it kind of explained how...
Oh, by the way, go ahead.
I was just saying, like, in season 2, literally, Korra points out that the reason she's, like, coddled is because they were afraid of her getting killed. Which, I would say, it's kind of true. It's kind of true that there was people trying to kill her.
Yeah,
Red Lotus would have been a kidnapper.
She easily takes L's in the show.
Yeah, luckily.
What I was gonna say, though, is... of course she would actively ignore and not be good at the spiritual side of bending, because she only seen bending as a weapon. And you could argue that the White Lotus didn't teach her that, but we don't know that.
It's weird that the White Lotus failed at teaching her that, though, because we do know they were the most spiritually inclined.
No, here's the thing. Here's the thing. What I'm trying to say is, we don't know that they failed. We're not really sure because it was time skipped. And we know, we've seen via Korra's character traits that she is stubborn, and she does believe that she should get things easily within the show. So with that being said, furthermore, she has a magnetism to fighting, which is the whole Wind episode, right? She loves brawling. How do you teach somebody who loves brawling the spiritual and patient side of bending? Especially if they exhibited character traits of being stubborn.
This pause screen is cursed. That kid's been staring at me.
Has to combat this character issue. One of the big conflicts of the first season involves Korra being unable to airbend due to its innate spiritual connection, and the fact that it hasn't evolved like the 3 other forms because Aang's son was the only airbending master in the world after his death, and he spat on the idea of modern bending.
Tenzin had no need to evolve his bending, because even if he got in a fight, he didn't need to modernize airbending because no one knew how to fight
airbenders.
Martial arts and nothing else. But Korra never grasps airbending this way. When Amon takes her bending from her, she suddenly summons the ability to airbend when Mako's threatened, leaving her with a sudden mastery of airbending and none of the other elements. So now she can airbend, but little else. You would think this would be a chance for Korra to truly respect bending as an art form now that it's been taken from her, putting her in a humbling situation as a counterpart to Yakone, who lost his bending and grew bitter and hateful as a result. But before the viewer can truly grasp the gravity of the situation or have any time to develop any sympathy for Korra's situation at all, Aang gives Korra back her firebending, earthbending, and waterbending, on top of giving her energy bending to reverse Amon's damage in Republic City, and you know what? Just for good measure, let's give her the Avatar State as well. Because why not? Why bother having Korra actually have to learn the gravity of the Avatar State?
I'm gonna be real. I think the given of the wind bending was that we see in wind, when you lose everything, you will gain a wind ability. I think that shit makes sense looking back in it, that she gained wind after she got all her other bendings taken away. That's it. You disagree with that?
Well, because the wind ability you're mentioning is the flight, correct?
Yes, I am mentioning the flight.
But that's directly associated with losing earthly attachments. You can argue she
I didn't say she lost earthly attachments. I'm just saying if you can lose something to gain an ability, what stops you from losing all bending to gain wind? Like, what stops that logic from working out? Because the idea one is that you have lost all earthly attachments. In my mind, that means if you don't have any earthly attachments.
To be fair, like we both are confused by that statement.
Yeah, because technically you should have no goals, right? If you lose all earthly attachment, in my opinion, you stop kind of functioning as a human. You hit rock bottom because you have nothing that you really want to fight for, right? And let's admit a physical attachment to the earth, but then he should have been able to fly because love isn't physical.
But I guess her existing there, because he would constantly want to protect her, like it would be a bias.
I don't know. That shit doesn't make sense.
So explain. I'll give this guy that if he makes a point about that.
Yeah, I was about to say that shit makes no sense. But what I will say, which does make sense to me, if it's based off of, give to gain. And she lost her airbending. That should deepen her connection. She has hit rock bottom. She has nothing else. Most of the time when people hit rock bottom, they become more spiritual. That makes sense to me. That at that moment she probably looked inwards.
No, I do wish she would have kind of like how you mentioned, given her a bit more humbleness, but it did actually the opposite. She got
more cocky.
Yeah, way more because she's like, oh, I mastered air, and I mastered Avatar State, and I have energy bending.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. She became the shit easily.
Yeah, Yeah, Tenzin got even harder at teaching her, and then she complains about Tenzin not being a good teacher when, I'm gonna be honest, she was a shit student.
It was impossible to fucking teach her, dude.
Yeah. Any further points?
No, that's it.
Like Aang did. In fact, the very first thing we see her do with the Avatar state is use it to
hour
win a
and 14
race
minutes
against
in, by the way.
children. Why bother having Korra actually have to learn anything? Let's just give her all the Avatar tools and wipe away the last bit of the Avatar journey, because apparently that would be just a rehash of The Last Airbender, except not really.
It would have been better if she just got it unmastered and then mastered at a later date.
Yeah, I don't know what the Avatar state being mastered really affects.
She won't speak out with the other spirits.
Other than the power scaling, like I feel like the only reason they gave that to her, my only argument, like she's making a great point with the mastered. My only argument for the mastered bending is that so they can fight stronger opponents. That's it.
In fact, Korra even gets handed the fucking mastery demonstration as well. Each avatar, upon mastering the 4 elements, pulls off an impressive demonstration of their mastery, and over the course of The Last Airbender, we get to see Avatar Roku and Avatar Aang perform this display.
You know, it's the first time it clicked in my head that that's what that was supposed to represent.
Yeah, me when I need to high five Aang. Yeah, Aang, you did that! My hand just shredded.
It's still such a funny concept that can happen. If you're an airbender with not enough spirituality, you just lose your ability. How do you think the first airbender?
These aren't just big moments of badass shamanism. They're
dude, he was probably like, bro, I'm feeling. I think right now I'm grounded on the earth, and I feel like the only thing that matters is physical things. And he lost his wind bending. He's like, I actually endorse capitalism.
You think you can regain it if you just get back to spiritualism? Or you
guys, I don't endorse capitalism anymore. Wind bending comes back. Let's go.
Oh my god!
I think each avatar mastering the 4 elements and the avatar state, but Korra just gets it. Not even pulling it off herself,
right now.
Seemingly on autopilot. Everything the other avatars had to earn through hard work and training, Korra is just given on a silver platter. Korra doesn't even have to suffer through the consequences of her own actions or the actions of the people around her. Events that would normally warrant a massive shift in Korra's character are often abandoned entirely. We just mentioned Korra being given her bending back, but this happens in every season afterward. In season 2, Unalaq rips the avatar spirit out of her and destroys it, effectively making her the last avatar. But thanks to an unsubtle plot point from earlier, she immediately recovers the avatar spirit and everything goes right back to normal.
No. She did not. No. That's an important distinction. There's an important distinction that Crown distincted for me. She did not regain the avatar spirits. She regained Vatu, which is a big difference. She cannot get wisdom no more. No more wisdom. Aang is officially dead.
Rava, not Vatu.
Talk to Aang.
Yeah.
Oh, Rava, my fault.
Yeah, I think she's about to make that point.
In season
no, never mind.
3, the Red Lotus poisons her with mercury and beats her so badly that she ends the season in a wheelchair, which might make you think that Korra has to deal with being disabled for a while. In fact, they lampshade it in the very final episode of the season. But season 4 starts 3 years later, and she's up and walking, and her recovery happened off screen. Korra doesn't even learn.
No, she's still fucking disabled, dude. Really, she's still disabled. I think.
Good to watch that annoying PTSD art again, guys. PTSD itself is not annoying; it's just the way. I can only be like, damn, Korra. That PTSD's kicking your ass when, every other avatar also had, like, PTSD.
Me personally, I would never get my ass kicked by PTSD. PTSD is a joke. Except for veterans. Shout out to my vets.
People who got actual PTSD.
Vets. Shout out. Your PTSD is fucking real.
I wonder if she's gonna touch upon Jinora Jesus.
Real. Maybe.
Learn anything fighting these people. In both season 2 and season 3, as she's losing badly, she's saved by Jinora going up and the evil is defeated. This is a fundamental problem with Korra.
Alright, pause everyone.
I gotta pause it.
I don't know why Silver will be back when I'm
We're finishing this.
We're 26
I'm
minutes in.
unpausing. I already
The
unpaused.
setup with the White Lotus teaching her bending in a way that completely destroys the Avatar's journey isn't an interesting story idea. It could have been, and at the very start of the second season, it almost looks like they're going.
That's something I would have preferred.
I need less White Lotus moments. Those niggas were fucking fodder.
No, that's what I mean by more moments, like where they weren't fodder, you know, because they still are an elite society that have like master benders, you know.
Okay, but think about who they had to fight. Kavira maybe, I mean, like, Kavira maybe. I can see a White Lotus
even with Kavira, they made sure not to put the White Lotus against Kavira. But like Unalaq, the Red Lotus, like they purposely only made them fight OP motherfuckers.
Yeah, I was about to say Unalaq. I don't know what to say, dude. If I was a White Lotus member, they're like, you gotta fight Unalaq. I'm sorry, who?
White Lotus were Jogo before JJK, because you know how Jogo had
to bad matchups, horrible matchups. Mia fighting Oman, stop right there. Look, man, I'm gonna give you 3 seconds. I'm gonna break your neck. I got bloodbending. You do? Yeah. Oh. I'm gonna walk away now. You better.
I'm gonna take your bending away, boy. Joke's on you, I don't even have bending. You work for this society? Bro, just go home.
Hey man, they really got your ass. They really got your ass working.
When Unalaq makes it clear to Korra that she wasn't supposed to be sheltered like this.
You can be one of 19.
Comes from it other than Korra being mad at Tenzin for a while and forcing open a way for her to be manipulated by the season's villain. It's clear that the writers were so determined to not have an Avatar journey that they just gave Korra all the Avatar powers without having to bother going through any of the actual work to get them. What compounds all this is that
because I don't think the point of this story was about the Avatar journey. It was about the consequences of being the Avatar. Ooh. Oh, would you like me to repeat it?
I'm pause that shit.
It was not about the Avatar journey.
Hey, we got pretty good. The counter's only at 4.
But the consequence of being the Avatar.
Ooh, he's cooking.
I actually gotta let my cat out. Pause.
Oh, wait. Yep.
Avatar Korra could have been if the writers had any interest in letting her be one. In the first episode of the 3rd season, many non-benders spontaneously develop airbending. One of them is so scared by these new powers that he climbs up a bridge and almost kills the police who chase after him. Korra darts up to his level.
I wouldn't say almost killed.
The motherfuckers got it.
Talk.
Yeah, they're literally an elite police force.
Don't panic. I'm just here to talk.
Please! I don't know what I'm doing and I don't want to hurt anyone!
Tell me about it. Rough day, huh? I'm having kind of a rough day myself. You mind if I sit down here? Look, I know you're scared. You've gone through a big change and it's kind of my fault. But you're not alone. There are other airbenders and they want to help you. Actually, they're really excited to meet you.
I don't want to be an airbender. Please, you're the Avatar. Make it stop!
I'm sorry, I can't. But I promise you,
She
things
actually
will
can.
get better
You have
if
energy
you
bending,
just give
remember?
it a chance. Let me take you over to Air Temple Island and we can talk this through.
She probably
okay?
wouldn't do it even because they're a diamond.
Yeah, I think that's immoral. I mean, immoral as fuck. Beautiful scene. Well, seeing that bending is like looked at as a spiritual thing, yeah.
Daw, this is Tenzin. He's going to help you.
It is absolutely
this guy literally
my
becomes a G in the
pleasure to
show.
meet you, Daw.
A recurring character.
I've never met a new airbender
He's so real.
before. Well, at least not one.
God, you need to shave your head. I'm telling you, this shit works.
Actually, I just fell off a bridge, so I could use a fresh diaper right about now.
This is the only time that the show feels like a sequel to The Last Airbender. You have a heartfelt conversation about having to deal with change, and that change can be scary for a lot of people, but there's others who want to help, and then we end on a dad joke. This is the best scene in the entire show. It's touching, and it leaves an impact that far outweighs the chest lasers and airbending suffocation that the rest of the show so heavily relies on.
That wasn't a good scene? I felt like that was a great scene. Because it really cemented Zahir's point. It really cemented that Zahir cannot be changed.
But I mean, the laser thing, I kind of agree. I mean, I already told you I had a problem with that scene. I felt like Jinora Jesus coming in and then like...
your problem comes from Jinora, not the laser beams.
True.
It's the first and only time that Korra is in any way a compelling avatar, or that you could actually feel like she's grown at all. Would it have really been so horrible to have
I feel like Korra is a compelling avatar all the way through. It's like, I think Korra is a case study of like what happens if you quite literally give the avatar everything they need for combat in an age of peace. How would they solve their problems? If you raise the avatar to be a hammer, everything will be nails.
Korra go through a similar journey to Aang, but with new characters and setups. Remember, Aang's journey wasn't just about learning the elements. There was a war on top of it, necessitating that he master the elements faster than any avatar ever had before. In The Legend of Korra, there is no journey, so the story has to stand up entirely on its villains, 3 of which are horribly mangled with contradictory philosophy on par with Pokemon Black and White, and the 4th of which is just Fire Lord Ozai with less intimidation factor. On top of all that...
What? She was fucking scary!
Not only that, like, her... Like... less intimidating. She had an actual. I mean, we're not gonna talk about comics, so I'm not gonna bring those up.
Yeah.
But like, I'm just saying, like, even in the show, her point made a lot of sense. Zhao Fu was quite literally acting like oh, we didn't want to get involved because I didn't want to get power hungry and steal territory. Are you afraid you would change? Like, you yourself are smart enough to not get power hungry. What do you mean you didn't want to take control? Release them once you fix it.
I think what's crazy is the thing that makes her such a scary character. If I was a earthbender at the time living in the Earth Kingdom, I would probably be part of her legion. I think that scares me because no one knows how much she's a monster she is, but only the higher ups. While everybody in the Fire Kingdom knew how big that nigga was a monster was.
No, and even the higher ups that knew were like, now a real monster because it's short-term evil for long-term like goodness. Which again, I'm not saying Bolin didn't agree with it, but like Bolin was still down with the cause, even if he's like, could you say this was a joke? Like, he was willing to overlook it if Caveira just lied.
Yeah, exactly.
Later seasons pull the Steven Universe gambit of using trauma in place of actual character development. After being poisoned by Zaire, Korra spends most of the 4th season wandering around the Earth Kingdom after having lost her avatar mojo. Well, okay, I guess that makes sense. Being beaten that badly will certainly leave this kind of effect on someone, but the problem is that she's the avatar, and it's been 3 fucking years. The fucking avatar, who faces near-death experiences on a constant basis and even had her own goddamn soul ripped out of her body and slapped around like a wet paper towel, has been walking around in a catatonic state for 3 years after this one fight, which wasn't even the worst fight she's ever been in. She reacts to Zaire with the kind of...
you're right. It wasn't the worst fight she ever been in. She had PTSD from all her fights, right? She had we've seen imagery from all her fights.
Zaire was just the one that stuck around because, Zaire was still
alive. It was a
cumulative.
It was a cumulative PTSD because we seen when Zaire was fucking with her, she seen images of everybody. She got PTSD of everyone.
Even when the fight was Caveira, we see the hair turn into Amon's hair to then it is Unalaq's hair. And then Zaire, it's like we see the progress of the thing.
PTSD, we seen it. I don't know what the fuck she's on about.
A war veteran, but Zaire isn't the worst villain she's fought, and didn't even give her the most traumatic experience she's ever had. The fact that Korra shrugged off far worse than this means that the attempt to pull the trauma card on this one person rings completely hollow and smacks of desperation in response to
who are you to decide what trauma is toward Korra
like
some people can handle certain events way better.
Exactly. I actually agree with that shit way harder. If you're coming from the standpoint, nigga, you're the avatar. This is supposed to be light work. Hey, I don't want to let niggas know, but although you're born to be the avatar, you're not born with trauma durability.
Not only that, like the fact of it, like it wasn't even the worst ass kicking. How do you have PTSD about this? It's like, who do you don't get to
nigga, you weren't there.
Like you don't get to decide what is traumatic. I want to say the fight with Unalaq, that shit might have been more traumatic to you, but that was a quick succession. That was like back to back. Zaire was drawn out.
You remember when we were there? We were standing by the Wind Temple. We were watching a fight. I let you borrow my binoculars. We were there. We were watching that shit. You're like, damn, bro. How did we get inside the TV? I was like, I don't know, but stay away from that bitch.
We did G-Evolve.
We did G-Evolve. All my niggas did G-Evolve.
Response to Zaire,
but like the poison again, because
that's a girl, right?
That's a guy. That's Genora's boyfriend. Zaire, the Zaire fight was a drawn out process. It was poison. We seen him like slowly progress, right? The Unalaq fight was back. Like, the fight was consistent. There was no time to think about. Zahir was, damn, I'm really gonna die chained up.
Yeah, the Zahir was fucking torture. Because we know the poison wasn't just normal poison. That shit hurt going in. That is crazy. I couldn't believe it. I can't believe what they're saying.
Here is the most compelling, is also the character who's the least interesting in the show. Bolin responds to Zahir's anarchist rampage by pendulum swinging in the opposite direction and supporting an authoritarian dictator with an almost zealous conviction because anything is better than the chaos.
Let me see what she says.
Zahir has brought over the Earth Kingdom. But the show doesn't dwell on it.
Okay.
They seemingly write off Bolin's allegiance to Kuvira.
Bolin joined the authoritative side because A, no one knew she was authoritative. B, he grew up in the slums and was watching villages of people die because of starvation and anarchy. Why would he actively not join the faction that makes it so people don't go through what he went through?
It wasn't
Which he tells Mako.
It wasn't a pendulum. It wasn't a pendulum swing. It was a fucking character-defining moment.
Jeez,
I don't know, bro.
Kuvira as a result of him being stupid, given by how certain everyone is that Kuvira is evil. We'll get into season 4 in a little bit, but this small fact being overlooked.
Everybody is so certain that Kuvira is evil because they were speaking to Kuvira's literal op the entire fucking time. Am I wrong, guy? Didn't they get did they get the message?
Bolin points out, it's like, you don't know Kuvira like I do. Which Mako's like, oh, maybe you've just been brainwashed. It's like, okay, bro.
Like you've been talking to Kuvira's op the entire time, my nigga.
Speaks volumes about the difference in priorities when it comes to character design. The show wants me to feel pity for Korra because she's struggling through PTSD, but I've seen Korra shrug off far worse than this, and so I don't feel any pity for her. This is also the hardest part of Korra's character to criticize in any meaningful way, because writers pull the trauma as character design card specifically because most people will fall for it.
By the way, you also gotta remember her PTSD doesn't really come from the fight itself. It came from her lack of control in that moment because she couldn't control herself. That's very important. Her biggest fear is Korra herself. It's like a Batman becoming evil type thing.
People will see this as a compelling story concept rather than the lazy tug on the heartstrings it truly is. Korra is introduced as a brash and impulsive avatar with no respect for the spiritual side of bending and little understanding of her role as the avatar.
Damn, how many times have we seen this
as
clip?
An exact same person. But what makes that different from similar characters like Toph is that the show pretends that they've evolved her character at all and then has the gall to expect you to believe it.
What do you mean expect? We see it through actions. You don't gotta believe.
You don't gotta believe, nigga. We seen it. Breaking bending. Okay.
Yo.
By the way, could this old lady get it? Be honest.
I feel like if she didn't get it, she would bloodbend someone to get it.
Dude, we're not done. No, I'm tired. Bloodbending.
No, bro. I like how in Korra they call out Katara. Like, it's just like, bloodbending was banned because Katara was weak. It's like, bro, how one person ban a whole bending type? Granted, that one person did date the Avatar and marry the Avatar. Damn, you know, that explains a lot of things.
Dude, if I dig down the Avatar, I better be able to ban a whole bending type.
I'd be so mad if I was like a proficient bloodbender just to get outlawed for knowing bloodbending. Like, bro, come on.
In The Last Airbender, bending was more than just combat. It was art. There was a lot of effort put into the styles of each form of bending and all of its subforms as well. The 4 elements all drew from real-world martial arts, meaning that every different kind of bender moves differently. You don't just identify benders by the element they wield, you identify them by their actual martial arts style. This isn't just design flavor, this is a plot point. During Season 2, Iroh teaches Zuko about how he discovered a firebending technique to redirect lightning by studying the waterbenders, and teaches the value of incorporating the spiritual aspects of different bending styles into one's own. And then later, in the Crossroads of Destiny, Zuko does that. A new way to bend fire is learned by studying waterbenders, and it's conveyed entirely through the way the bender actually moves, conjuring fire like a wave. The reason earthbending is so difficult for Aang to learn is because he's had it ingrained to him that being light on his feet and agile is the best tactic, and earthbending relies on you being rooted and immovable. He has to change the way he approaches an encounter in order to master earthbending. That's the plot of an entire episode. It's not just a matter of martial arts either, it's also about being resourceful. Toph is the first person to discover metal bending because her seismic sense is so attuned that she can feel the impurities in her metal cage, and she's the only one to think, I wonder if I can bend that. It's not a matter of Toph being special or just suddenly happening upon this ability, like Bolin does with his lava bending. She was just the one who had the tools at hand to figure out they were there, and the the rest is just a matter of getting them to move. And it comes back to why Toph is the greatest earthbender in the world, because she pays attention to the details that other people wouldn't think to look for. The Legend of Korra takes all this detail, rolls it up into a ball, and then throws it in the fire so that they can wank off shitty 1920s technology some more. First of all, in 90% of the show, bending forward's been watered down to little more than generic punches and kicks. This is sort of written off with Korra.
Yes, that is the evolution of martial arts. Nowadays, the best fighting style is MMA. You can't argue with that. It's just how it is.
Marking on modern styles of fighting and Tenzin being dismissive of them, but we all know the actual reason. The animation is so focused on making things look pretty with little regard to how they're supposed to move. So making a character as over-designed as Korra or half the anime rejects
in the tech era and people were still doing a whole like dance to shoot fire.
I will just shoot you.
You're gonna get shot.
Yeah, I will just shoot. Nigga, give me a car. I'll run you over. I would not be afraid of gang member. Let me tell you, if they doing all that, nigga, I'm running you over. I'm running you over.
I think we've only seen one, like, besides airbending, like, one person do the full, like, animation for movements, and that was Mako in season 4, when he was, like, charging up lightning by, like, making go back and forth in his hand before shooting it. That's just because he needed to build more current for what he was about to do.
And we've seen what happens to niggas. Once again, there's a here moment. I'm not gonna insert the clip, but we've seen what happens to niggas who are too slow on the draw in this universe.
Shit, we seen what happened to Amon when he was bloodbending too slow and got shot with lightning by Mako.
Yeah, nigga, do not take your time with bending. Get that shit done. It is a weapon. It is a tool.
Outside the scope of the animation budget, even down to the lip syncing, which is little more than open and closed mouths, except in certain instances where characters are deliberately enunciating for comic effect. Despite each individual frame looking much nicer in The Last Airbender, the actual quality of the animation has degraded considerably, and the same studio worked on that Voltron cartoon where the same thing happened. The quality of the art has gone up, while the actual animation has plummeted because making it actually move is just too difficult. Just take a look at how over-designed Korra is, from the hair ties to the waist skirting and the ties coming off with that.
That's not over-designing. Over-designing would be unnecessary shit. This is actually unnecessary for a character. From what I know, this is average waterbender gear.
Which Bolin points out because he thought she was appropriating it.
Exactly.
Additional flap underneath, her clothes baggy and loose hanging, and all that free moving detail is completely asinine for anything to animate.
For a fighter, yeah.
Traditional 2D animation, which is as user friendly as Microsoft Front Page and is the reason it's been discontinued by most animation studios in favor of Flash or CGI. No. Incidentally, this was a joke in The Last Airbender.
This was 6 years ago.
What do you think? Pretty slick, huh? All I need to complete the outfit is a wind sword.
What's a wind sword?
Is where I get a sword handle. And then I just swing this around and bend air out like a blade.
Yeah, nice.
I don't think.
I'll just stick to what.
I don't think that was a joke on the animation budget. I think that was a joke on kids being kids, like kids over accessorizing. That is something kids will actually do. If they find cool gear and shit, they will just put it all on.
I got
something the creators
like
made
most
fun
people
of
play
is now
MMOs
something
can relate to.
You just wouldn't get it.
Face, and that's just sad.
You're not a gamer.
Once season 4 came around and Nickelodeon slashed the team's budget, they responded by flat out removing most of this detail from Korra's model. And she wasn't the only one either. Asami had most of her defining details altered as well, so that the animators could actually move her without causing an economic recession. But it's more than just a need for everything to be prettier to the point that it's too hard to move. Let's take the Avatar.
I just thought of that. Now you could say it's that. I just thought it makes logical sense within the show that she would lose some of the water-bending gear when she mainly stayed in Republic City.
Avatar State, for instance. The Avatar
And
State
the
is a
Earth.
simple idea. When
That's
the
all I'm
Avatar,
saying is how many
someone
got
the
broke,
Avatar
no.
loves is in serious
So-
peril, they can summon the
Yeah, I
combined
wouldn't
might of
go
every
around
previous
dressing all that
Avatar
extra
into a
shit.
desperate bid to get out of danger. In The Last Airbender, the Avatar State is an event precisely because Aang had to get the shit kicked out of him in order for it to even trigger. So not only was it rare, it was extremely powerful. It did carry the risk that being killed in the Avatar State means no more Avatar, but good luck doing that. In The Legend of Korra, Korra can trigger the Avatar State at will, which means the Avatar State can't be as powerful as it used to be, otherwise she's completely unkillable. So Korra goes into the Avatar
No,
State
it was still as
really
powerful. It was still as powerful for my knowledge.
Was bad at using it, and not because she was just bad at controlling elements, but just because she didn't know what the fuck to do in modern era stuff. Because if she tried doing, the big, we only think airbenders can do the bubble, but in the instance she can do the bubble we see Aang do. That's a long ass loading time.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get hit with metal.
That charge up is fucking crazy. And then you gotta think of it. I'm pretty sure she was poisoned at the time. With this whole shit, dude.
Really get a whole lot of benefit from it, does she? She gets the shit kicked out of her in the Avatar state almost every time she uses it, and in most cases, going into the Avatar state only ever puts her on the same level as whoever she's fighting. The Avatar state means nothing. It has to mean nothing, because if it didn't, then
she won
conflict
this
would
fight.
ever have
She
any
just
tension at all.
made her
In the
drop
last
the rock.
Airbender, they recognized this and purposefully made it so that in order to trigger the Avatar state at will, Aang would have had to give up everything he cared about, and he didn't want to do that. Instead of doing anything that clever or character establishing, the writers
no, that's true. For that, I just think that no, I got nothing other than a retcon. Other than that shit being retconned. What do you think?
I don't know. I also said that it's weird that the requirement for the Avatar state's the same requirement to fly, because they both required you to not have earthly attachments.
It could have been
switched over. The Princess Celestia approach, where Korra can use the Avatar state all the time, but it's about as effective as slapping someone with a wet paper towel. The very idea of bending was watered down so much that they up and turned it into a professional sport. Now, that's supposed to show about how so much time is wasted on pro bending and how it eliminates so much of the interesting ideas of bending to the point that it accidentally serves as the only example of inequality in Republic City that I'm yammering on about. But somebody already beat me to that subject, and I can't figure out a way to write out this thesis in a way that doesn't come off as explicit plagiarism. In Avatar, bending made the world move. Everything, even whole cultures, was built around bending in some way. In Korra, that world design is abandoned. We see very little of the water,
because time involved in Aang tried making equality.
Bro, I don't need water bending if I have a fucking car.
No, but I literally told you about this, how it's weird that people blame Aang for relieving the inequality when, he set up the city to not be on that basis, so bending didn't make that. That's why there's fucking presidents.
Dude,
that's why there was an election board.
That is fucking crazy.
The story takes place
in a very steampunk-esque city.
Fair.
I don't know. Yeah, fair, but damn.
It was there. It's definitely there.
Screaming New York circa 1920. And that's the problem. The nations in Avatar have always drawn on elements of Asian cultures, but they also merge that idea seamlessly with each nation's element. By taking most of the story out of the different nations and to the United Republic, the impact that bending has on the culture that surrounds it is gone, to be replaced by a hybrid of real-world cities from the most criminally overused
fucking hybrid city, so it would all be in one place. No shit.
It kind of makes sense. I will make this story being a hybrid city instead of fucking 4 separate nations. Why would I do that? Why?
You see when Korra goes to the Earth, your point is still very true. Bending still makes the world go round, except in Republic City, the city made by Aang to be equality. The Earth's still fucking evil as shit. I mean, well, no, I can't say evil as shit because Xylee is still doing random shit for the Queen, and that's why he's here Opter. The Fire Nation is the only true nation that kind of stopped being kind of assholes, and that's because they're doing reparations because they feel guilty
for being so fucking evil.
Age of the 20th century.
No TV, movies suck. I'm here with my gal.
So I found out that dragon that Zuko was riding was a dragon they found. That's a whole different dragon than the 2 dragons we've seen, but people theorize that dragon's the baby of the 2 dragons we've seen. Because you remember the golden egg?
Yeah.
I picked up instead, it feels like it's
Dude, I remember having the conversation like, who the fuck you get a dragon?
You will die of measles.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what it is about the 1920s that keeps making people think it's a good idea to set animated works there, but after years of steampunk wannabe knockoffs
I actually think the setting was dope as fuck.
Period, the entire concept becomes unnecessarily trite. And the hilarious part is that Republic City is the only place this fucking happens. You see many glimpses of the water tribes in the Earth Kingdom, and they're still very much steeped in their culture.
I'm sorry, yeah. The third world fucking countries, yeah, I'm sorry I have to say, the fucking bumfuck buck-twos of nowhere.
Okay, well, if the scene we're seeing right now is the northern, I'm pretty sure, which I think that's the northern or southern, the one that's really good. Anyways, that city was advanced even before the other cities, so they don't really gotta change shit. Then the northern, when they tried getting advanced, Katara was like, I don't like my city being a copycat of the other tribes. Let's go back to living in igloos. Which again, I fucking hate Katara. She's the only in that instance. Because she's the reason that that tribe is so in the past. Like literally, the northern tribe. Again, I think I'm using the wrong tribes, but the northern tribe, full iron military navy ships that we've seen arrive. Them wooden ships wooden fucking ship. Briark was the only one with a metal ship. Are you kidding me?
I was gonna say, plus the metal bending area that's specially made for metal benders to be metal bending. That kind of makes sense. I feel like that's an unfair comparison.
Mm-mm.
I feel like we're comparing like rustic bumfuck two places to the great city that is the United Republic.
Oh, what do you call it? In the Earth City, like they make the make the point of the airships here are shit. It's like, yeah, no shit. The airships here are shit because they're poor. They're poor. They're
a poor country
compared to Republic City.
Cultural architecture and design. Worse off is that the United Republic is radiating Americana from every orifice to the point of being bolted onto the Earth Kingdom like a lingering infection. For fuck's sake, there's a giant statue of Aang on an island in the harbor that screams Statue of Liberty. The entire design of Republic City
had a
is
giant
reminiscent of
statue.
New York. The origins of the Avatar.
I think the point was that America isn't too bad, bro, and it was still based on Asian culture. And I can tell you it's still based on Asian culture because I didn't see a single black guy. I didn't see a single black guy or a single Mexican.
Avatar are dripping with Christian overtones about God
on the Earth Nation. Well, that's because those were the colonies that the Fire Lord had, and Zuko was like, "Hey, maybe we shouldn't return the colonies to the Earth Kingdom because all the tribes have started working together in these colonies. And if we return them to the Earth's gonna excommunicate anybody who isn't Earth."
Real Americanization, if you're gonna say this is a copy of America, real Americanization is a copy of American culture, and that means having a mixing pot. I don't see no white people. I don't see no black people. I see no Mexican people. I only see people from Asian countries. This is not Americanization. This is not what America represents. All right, I'm a goddamn American. All right, I've been on this fucking crap.
We gotta speed through this video right now, bro.
God and Satan, and give yourself unto Jesus.
No, we're not.
Capitalism is creeping
That's the best part about recording.
into the world like a viral
I thought you were on a time
and
limit.
every theme in the series can be boiled down to democracy is great, everything else sucks because I said so. That is, except in the first season where we have to maintain the status quo, except for the part where the United Republic's leader isn't called a president yet. It's almost as if somebody looked at the rich Eastern coding of the Avatar universe and thought, not enough America, and started bolting stars and stripes onto everything they could see. But
there's a board of directors.
I think.
So yeah.
I actually think Korra's setting is unique. A fun twist of America, of mixed win with America, without all the the other races and shit, in Asian culture. I don't know why you're hating on it so hard.
But the biggest act of vandalism on the world design is the airbenders. The air nomads were on the brink of extinction even at the start of Legend of Korra. After Aang's death, Tenzin and his children were the only remaining airbenders. This is a scar left on the world by the 100-Year War. A scar that will take hundreds of years to heal and will persist as a constant reminder of the horrors of Fire Lord Sozin, Azulon, and Ozai. Just kidding! Starting in season 3, bullshit spirit magic makes airbenders pop up everywhere.
Not bullshit spirit magic. That's actually very important. It was balanced. That was the issue. I forgot what happened, but I think it was like well, not Votu. What's the spirit name that controls bending?
Energy bending? No. You mean like technically it was Korra leaving the portals open that caused this because like harmonic convergence happened.
Okay. The fact is, the spirit realm saying, "Hey, bro, one of the bendings is gone." That's not balance. Let me fix that. That actually makes sense in the world.
Fuck long-lasting effects on the world. Fuck the scars caused by war.
And even
fuck
then,
the very concept
like,
of things taking time.
It wasn't even that many benders. Like I know how he's making an example. Like it wasn't even enough to like fill up an air temple. Because even like Tenzin was like, maybe one day we'll fill up all the temples again. Because there's like 30, 40 people.
Well, I was about to say it was 30, 40 people. Like that shit was not that much.
To heal.
Not counting
one
the
episode,
people who didn't actually join them
a
because they
small
decided
militia.
to stay home.
Everywhere, go and fuck yourself. It's like the bullshit with Korra, but taken to a grander scale to undo one of the most noteworthy crimes in the entire fucking history of the world of Avatar. I don't even know why this was done. I can only assume that the reason was that we wanted to see the air nomads return to their former glory, but doing that in a way that didn't completely spit all over the symbolism of the previous series was apparently not good enough. We had to do it in one episode with bullshit spirit magic. Let's just have more airbenders because that would be cool without actually thinking about the impact that has. And if you thought the culture of airbending...
No, they definitely thought about it. Which is why they got fucking
last legs and having to slowly rise back to prominence would have been
and
actually interesting.
Had to
you get
from
to eat shit.
Old bending to modern bending because he realized like these aren't the airbenders of the past. These are their own individual people.
Because we wanted more airbenders. And also we wanted an evil airbender. Ooh, I'm so edgy. And also we're gonna hang a lampshade on the fact that we're scrubbing away the entire...
It's crazy because I actually think Zahir wouldn't... I think Zahir still would have been the threat even without bending. If he would have just broken out regularly, I feel like Zahir still would have been the threat.
Yeah, but I don't think he would have broken out in general.
Oh, yeah, but you could always write in a breakout. I want to remind you, they wrote in a breakout for fucking Tai Lung, and look how that nigga was sealed.
True.
Zahir was not sealed like how Tai Lung was sealed. They're always a plot-convenient ass way to write out a breakout.
Entire culture of the air nomads to just be airbending and nothing else. It's actually alarming just how much of the cultural origins of the world of Avatar gets scrubbed by the creeping Americanization.
No,
because there's an episode where Tenzin was trying to teach them the culture and they weren't receptive to it, so he became like a hard ass.
Exactly.
Then he went back to
which is ironic because the themes of The Last Airbender explicitly condemned this kind of imperialism. The United Republic was created from occupied Earth Kingdom territory to the point where two different villains remark on it with plans to take it back, and this is viewed as a bad thing. It's a good thing this was the Korea-inspired Earth Kingdom rather than the Water Tribe, or more people would have caught on to the implications. More to the point, its unique culture is credited as being the result of both immigration and tech.
No. I did the
Electrical revolution,
like,
just like America. How about that shit?
They stopped. Okay, it was seen as a bad thing. They both wanted the territory back, and it was seen as a bad thing because they didn't just want the territory back and then leave it as is. They wanted the territory back, and then to make anybody who was an Earth citizen leave. You know that.
Oh yeah, because they were fucking racist.
Yeah.
It's strange that The Legend of Korra goes to so much effort to scrub away the thing that made Avatar unique, Eastern culture that's not Japan being the basis for the entire world design, and thoroughly explore the differences between those cultures with the avatar of each cycle continuing to sport the garb of their native homeland. And now we have to watch all of that get scrubbed away.
Wasn't you just fucking complaining about that shit though? Wasn't you just complaining about the garb of their native homeland being too much of the time?
In favor of Western architecture, Western technology, Western politics, Western neoliberal...
Okay, you putting Western technology? What the fuck does that mean? Technology can be used by any people. Yeah, it may be made in the West, but it's made here in this universe.
Capitalist propaganda. The first season's bad guys are essentially...
That was communist propaganda!
The bastardized, poorly understood version of communism that Americans have been so thoroughly terrified of for decades. Dressed up with a fresh coat of Occupy Wall Street paint. They really were married to this idea. Oh, by the way, speaking of marriage...
I was going to say, it was more like communism, but let's not forget, it wasn't fucking communism. It was about putting non-benders back on equal terms. Bastardization of communism in America has workers as the power dynamic. But workers, anybody can be a fucking worker. You can be a rich
really
worker.
Interested on this next segment.
Go ahead.
No. I mean, like, in this next segment, they're about to explain. Because I want to see what their points are. Because there's some really good points they can argue here. And there's some really stupid points. And I'm really wondering which points they're going to go into.
Yeah, but you can be a rich worker, and still work. But, like, you can be a rich worker and still be a worker, right? The problem with this version of fucking quote-unquote communism is that there is an innate power dynamic, a really strong innate power dynamic. It's like if I said only some people can get a gun, right, in America, and I get to pick those people who get a gun. That is a really strong power dynamic to have. So Amon's thing was trying to get everybody a gun, or get everybody on equal footing with people that has a gun. Socialist, of course. That makes perfect sense. I wouldn't really necessarily say it's a bastardization of communism, because I would say that's actually really far removed from communism. I think communism is about, and Crown could correct me on this, he's a communist. He read the Communist Manifesto.
Whoa. Not a communist. I had to do it for my class.
Communism, I'm pretty sure, is about the perceived notion of a power dynamic, while this is a physical power dynamic. Something that makes you uniquely different.
Miserable hand. No, everyone should always remember, communism is just a really screwed form of Karl Marx's socialism. so it's not even good.
Romance was always the black sheep of Avatar, but with most of the characters being around 12 to 14, it was never really all that present outside of a few episodes in the series finale. With the new cast being around their early 20s, things get messy.
Wacky.
Talking about the issues with romance is a lot harder than anything else in the script because it's the one thing that even the most diehard fans agree was handled extremely poorly. Let's start with the obvious one, the love triangle. So Bolin's got the hots for Korra because she can crush a watermelon with her thighs. Only Korra's got the hots for Mako because it's generic and brooding with the Batman story, and that's what the two men writing the show think women like. Only Mako starts dating Asami, the generically pretty businesswoman who manages to go 3/4 of the series without a personality. But then Korra kisses Mako OMG, which breaks Bolin's heart, but it's okay, he gets over it. Only Asami finds out later and suddenly becomes super jealous and starts wondering why Mako's so worried about Korra when Korra was captured by Amon. Seriously, Asami, what the fuck kind of timing do you have, you insufferable little shit? And then Asami spends the next few episodes being really passive-aggressive toward Mako, and I guess they break up because at the end Korra and Mako get together in time for the season finale. An uncomfortable amount of the first season is spent dwelling on this love diamond, but because the writers have all the tact and social graces of Justin Bieber and the Holocaust Museum, all the actual material takes place at the most inopportune.
Isn't a love diamond where everybody likes each other? Does it have to be two-way?
I don't know, man.
I'm pretty sure a love triangle is like there's one person at the top, and that one person likes the other two, but the two at the bottom also like each other.
No. A love triangle, the two in the bottom do not need to like each other.
Okay,
I thought you said love diamond. That's why I said I don't know.
Asami starts to get suspicious that Mako is feeling for Korra because he's being extremely worried about her well-being while they're searching for her after she was supposedly captured by the Equalist.
Damn,
who
look at all
planned
that
to take
ass
her
back
bending
there.
away, and without the Avatar,
You
they're
think it's
all
metal?
fucked. The writers picked the worst
think it's
possible
metal, bro?
time to start developing more of this romantic subplot. Worse off, as the season progresses, the characters involved in these subplots become less and less interesting. In season 2, Mako breaks up with Korra.
Yeah. I was Bill and married the Water Lady too, man.
And gets back together with Asami, but then walks back on it when Korra loses her memory. This made Mako hated among the viewer base, but what I'm wondering here is why Asami or Bolin never spoke up about it. They both knew, and they were both in a position to do something about it, but instead Bolin briefly teases Mako about the whole thing while Asami remains suspiciously quiet. This whole scene is treated like a big story-changing deal.
She just came back from a traumatic experience and imagine
how
being
unenjoyable
like,
this
dude.
Oh, hello boyfriend. How's it going? Oh yeah, dude, we broke up.
We broke up. Silence, crickets. Cricket, no!
And the characters involved are. Also in season 2, Bolin gets into an abrupt relationship with Unalaq's daughter, but I use the word relationship extremely loosely. Eska just decides that Bolin belongs to her, not answering when Bolin asks if she means as a boyfriend or a slave, and then proceeds to drag him around for half the season, abusing him at every possible opportunity. And
if you think you're abusive, if you think you're abuser, if you think this is abuse, you're not a real nigga. This is a real nigga relationship. This is a relationship real niggas want. You're just not a real nigga.
I was really expecting you to say the wrong pronouns, bro. I was waiting. I had my hand over the counter.
I was about to say something totally different from the wrong pronouns. But it was on the same line of being a transphobe. But I stopped myself. I stopped myself. I'm just saying. This is what real niggas want. You're not a nigga. You're a female. You wouldn't be able to relate.
Hog tying him into marriage. And what do Olin's brother or his friends do about it? They fucking laugh. You could say that's expected considering the bullshit that goes on between
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not even gonna lie to you, crowd. If this happened to you, I would laugh my ass off. And I feel like vice versa.
What?
I feel like vice versa.
What?
I feel like vice versa.
I got groomed, you would laugh your ass off.
Nigga, this isn't grooming. This isn't grooming.
That would be the way I follow that so hard.
But if this happened to you where you're like trying to hit on a woman and she quite literally like drags you into a relationship, I would laugh. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Like within the week gets me engaged.
Oh yeah, I'd be laughing my ass off. Because it would be like, which shit did you get into? How the fuck did we get here?
I was gonna say, well, I wouldn't, and then I remembered the person that starts with an N that you met.
Yeah.
Like, I can't say shit.
Yeah. I get you. Yeah, it would be funny. It would be fucking funny. I get you.
Korra and Asami, but the show treats this like a big joke as well, escalating, lol, to Bolin being chased across continents.
Honestly, I really think it's just dude humor. I only say that because my homie like injured himself today, right? He tripped and he fell on the pointy part of the sink.
Ooh.
Got a huge scar against his ribs, and we're all sitting there. All the females in the talk about, oh my god, what happened to him? Me and Jared fucking dying of laughter. dying. And then when he gets up, he's fucking laughing. Being hurt is funny, dude. I'm sorry to tell you. Like injury is funny. Yeah, the only time it stops being funny where you face real mental trauma. But if you don't show outwardly that you don't face no real mental trauma, only physical, I'm sorry, bro. I'm gonna laugh. It's kind of like those videos of the soldiers getting their arm cut off or some shit. And then, like, everybody thinks it's funny until they're like, no, my arm. Until it, like, really seeps in, you know what I'm saying? That they're really fucking sad about it. But if they're not sad about it, niggas are gonna keep laughing.
By a murderous woman he leaves at the altar, because of course he leaves Eska at the altar. She's fucking nuts, and if Bolin stays with her, he's going to die. And then toward the end, they just write the whole thing off, as if we didn't just spend part of the season laughing at Bolin's obvious distress and anxiety. The sad part is that this could have been the most interesting thing in the entire series if the writers had taken it even remotely seriously, and not just assumed that abusive relationships are funny when the abuser is a woman. And I know that's why they thought it was funny, because it's the same reason Korra can't seem to fight her way out of a paper bag and keeps needing Mako, Bolin, and Tenzin to save her. Oops. Can you tell one of the
honestly, I'm gonna be real. Abusive relationships are not funny when it's a dude, because dudes have the man, how do I say this? Dudes who are being abusive in a relationship have the tendency to hit their partner. And that shit is not funny. Me, as a guy, will not hit another guy if I consider him weaker than me. There's some niggas in my life who I see are beneath me when it comes to strength scale. Whether it be morally or physically. I won't hit those niggas. Or I won't emotionally attack those niggas. Because that's not okay. Abuse when it comes to women, though. As long as she doesn't have a knife and her punches don't actually hit. Like, if Corey abused me, we have to fight. Korra's a nigga. Actually, fuck that. We're not gonna fight. Me and Crown are gonna set up automatic rifles in the front door. Because I actually don't want to fight. I actually don't want to come close. Fighting her is too risky. And then me and him are gonna...
That, bro, because, like, she got hit with one of the laser beams. I don't know. I don't think a gun could work out with her. I'm gonna be honest.
M80? Do you think me and Crown will save up money to buy tanks? And with those tanks...
Bro, what the fuck? She's a metal bender. That would be wasting money.
What the fuck do we do, Crown, if we get abused by Korra? No, what do we do if I'm getting abused by Korra, Crown? What are we doing?
You learn to like it, okay? What you gonna do? Tell the world you, a man, was abused by Korra?
What the fuck the world gonna do, bro?
Exactly my point. Now take that beating over the
dude, try to. Korra, I don't think this is real. You fell. Yeah, Korra, I fell.
What are you talking to my dad about?
You fell in the ice skiing accident. Ice skiing accident? Ah!
Dude, I swear that's how Mako would have felt. Like, must have felt like when anytime Korra raised his voice at
dude, I would, dude, that was...
Because Mako didn't flinch, but like, he was always like ready to shoot fire.
Dude, I would piss myself. I would piss myself.
Like, when he broke up and she broke the desk, like, Mako was about a decker. And that's the funniest shit to me, because it's like, no matter what relationship they had, Mako was ready to swing if she swung first.
Did you use all the milk and place the car in back? There's still a little left. A little for what? I don't drink coffee. I know. I'm sorry. You should have just used it all. Yeah, I should have. Drink the milk. I'm not thirsty. Drink the milk. I'm not thirsty. Drink the fucking milk. You like that?
Not because... Nah, bro, because then if she's like, I'm gonna get my own milk, and like, you know, she milks you and then forces you to drink that milk, you know.
Work on Family Guy. Actually, that's not a fair comparison, because at least when Family Guy did an episode about domestic abuse, they had the decency to kill the obviously abusive piece of shit. Worse even is that Eska returns in season 4 to spout rhetoric about how being a girlfriend and being a boss are the same thing. This feels like all those stand-up comedy routines about how marriage is a sacrifice of one's freedom, but without the sarcasm.
It kinda is. It's a sacrifice of both freedoms.
realization that it's still not funny, even with the sarcasm. Thankfully,
also, give it up to
during season
Eska
3,
being
they
the
kept
first,
the romance to the
first,
same
like,
level they had it
dual
on The Last
tribe.
Airbender.
I mean,
And even in season 4,
people with shared power, you know, it's 2 kings, 2 queens, whatever. 2
Yeah,
chicks.
they got that shit on lockdown. Me personally, I would not share my power with anybody.
they had the common sense to keep most of the relationships as all
Not even what?
Not even your twin?
My evil twin? Or am I the evil twin?
Established, taking the 3-year time difference to open these pairings.
Complaining about a yap
rests,
session for
but
2 hours
they
in.
just couldn't help themselves, and at the very end of the season, they matched
bro.
up Korra
I'm looking
and
at the clock,
Asami. The two of them walk into the spirit world together, seemingly having become a couple. And I say seemingly because the writers had to confirm it in a public statement because it was apparently that ambiguous. Apparently this time they had a statement to make about it, claiming that it was an important leap for representation and the like, but that all rings hollow because it happened the very last possible minute of the very last season, presumably to avoid any potential backlash from potential.
I'm gonna be honest. I do think this relationship was necessary in Korra for the relationship we have in Adventure Time to run. Ooh, can I say that again?
I wish Mako would have ended up with someone. That's all my complaint is.
Okay, can I say it again? I'm gonna say
I don't care they were together. I just care that Mako ended up alone.
This relationship walked. Put me in the edit, guys. No. This relationship walked. So Adventure Time relationship can run. Be dead ass.
Actually hurting their bottom line. It's yelling bisexual avatar really quickly before slamming the door behind you and sprinting down the road.
The previous
it's
2
saying,
female avatars
we're
were
here
gay
for our
too.
LGBT.
Yeah, I feel like having a gay avatar and all that shit. I wouldn't be a gay avatar. If I was a female, I would be a gay avatar.
I will say something. If the new Earthbender is bi too and he ends up like with a guy, I'll be like, damn, bro, like 2 gay avatars back to back.
You think they use Earth as dildos?
According to that one porn comic made by Shadebase, you know.
Oh, you cannot mention that nigga on the internet. That nigga got scrubbed. Yeah, don't do that. That one, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't even reference that you seen that. I'll tell you later. But
what happened? Okay,
No,
I have to edit this now.
I would say honestly, I'm not gonna edit my shit. You know I don't edit my shit.
I don't edit my shit either.
So you gotta pray no one comes to see mine, because I'm not gonna edit my shit for that.
No, I'm not gonna edit my shit either.
But like, for you personally,
it's too late, bro.
You might want to edit that. You might want to edit that on your side.
LGBT friends and family, but none of it means
I'll tell you
before it won't matter anymore. I suppose I should consider this a blessing considering the horrifying shit show we've had to experience so far. You know how long that would take? Steven Universe has been finding ways to hide
last time I edited a
2-hour-long
video
and death.
Fucking Star Wars one with Nyx. That took 2 days.
Oh, where he said ER.
Yeah, where he continued to say it. And I had to listen to that audio clip for multiple days. I found 2 times where he said it.
There will be a time where we start recording more sessions.
I'm sick and fucking tired of creators claiming to be big supporters of LGBT people, but taking every measure possible to minimize their presence in their works to avoid potentially pissing off the
What the fuck is he
if this show was a support.
Okay, I just want to make this. I want to make this clear. Before LGBT was accepted, if you had a show, because they're not accepted, you can get that show taken off, right? So what would you rather have?
Why was Ratsec on the fucking screen?
I have no idea. Would you rather have no LGBT representation or a little bit of LGBT representation that will soon build up to be a lot? This was made 6 years ago, so I can't use the knowledge that I know now because that's an unfair argument. But this would be the same argument I would still use. This is only because this is the experience I had as a black person looking for black representation within the media. Like, sometimes black characters have to be hidden in plain sight. So then we can actually make black characters. Like, we can have real black characters. So I understand how hard it feels. Just like, man, figuring out that guy was a nigga midway through, or thinking that dude was a nigga the whole time, not to get it confirmed, really makes me upset. But that's something you got to deal with. That's actually something you got to deal with. It's a snowball effect. I feel like, Crown, did you deal with the two when you first, well, you know, you being a Mexican American, do you deal with the two, finding Mexican representation that's not in an anthropomorphic animal? It had to be an actual character. That shit was hard, right?
Still not even. I was like, that shit's still not even good to this day. Like, unless I'm looking for strong Latina woman or man, living in America, it's like, damn, bro, like that's the same story plot we've gotten for the last 17 years.
It's fucking it's fucking hard. That is shit you just gotta deal with, nigga. If you want society to progress, it always gotta take small steps.
Supportive as it claims to be, they'd have gone all in and opened in episode 1 with them as adults and already married. Worse than that, the entire show's approach to romance is born purely out of obligation because The Last Airbender had romance, and so we have to have it here as well. So many characters have so little chemistry that fucking fan art, can capture more emotion and chemistry in a single wordless frame than the writers can manage in 4 years. Supposedly all of this is built on in the Turf Wars comic. I wouldn't know because I can't honestly think of a good reason of why I would pay to experience more Legend of Korra content. I already had to rewatch the series in its entirety for this video, and that was torturous enough. I certainly don't want to experience it in comic book form, and I certainly don't want to experience that on the off chance that this one tertiary element of the story might be done better. Keyword being might. The fact of the matter is that the romance was the worst element of even The Last Airbender, and the writers had the common sense to keep it to a minimal presence in the series. There was one episode and then brief moments in a few others before closing with the shot that everyone wanted to see by the end. The best written relationship was between Sokka and Suki, and you barely saw a whole lot of content for it. This is because their relationship after the Serpent's Pass was mostly contained to occasional couple banter, because banter is where Sokka is the strongest. Korra makes the big mistake of not only having love triangles, but also pretending that those triangles are just as engaging as the main story, rather than being a fun little side story. And that inflation of a side story's prominence makes its bigger.
I mean, the relationship triangles was integral to the story because it influenced how the characters think and what their actions are going to be. So, you know, it's whatever though.
Glaring. The Last Airbender would have only suffered if half of every season was devoted to building on the romance, and if Sokka was roped into an unhealthy submissive relationship with Yue. Seriously, what the hell, writers? That was all kinds of fucked up.
I disagree. I just want to be Bolin.
I disagree. We love Bolin.
Now I thought about it, and I think people won't cancel me for saying that person.
We're going to talk about what makes the other seasons a hot mess, but season 2 is the only season that the majority of Korra's fan base is extremely critical of, which is to be expected. Most fan bases are generally uncritical of material.
Ever make. Me personally, I would never make that fucking mistake. I don't believe in it.
Hey, we're still uploading this shit
if said material remains consistent with itself. It's only when you place a good story and a terrible story right next to each other that they start to realize the difference. So long as the material isn't constantly shifting between two different versions of itself, most casual viewers will just accept that everything was intentional and not bother expending the energy to really analyze and digest what they've actually seen. The season opens with the chieftain of the Northern Water Tribe offering to teach Korra about the spirits, remarking on the fact that she's been sheltered from the Avatar journey throughout her entire life. From there, Unalaq starts talking about the unification of the Water Tribes, and a civil war breaks out between the North and the South, and Korra learns that her father was banished from the North for burning down a spirit forest and angering the spirits. Korra tries desperately to remain neutral until her father is imprisoned for inciting rebellion, and she learns that Unalaq plotted all of this, including her father being banished years ago, and the spiritual unrest going on in the Water Tribes was his fault the entire time. Korra ceases to be neutral and retreats to Republic City to find help, which connects to multiple different storylines. After the new president of Republic City refuses to send the United Forces, Asami agrees to sell weapons and mecha tanks to the south to save her company. But she's sabotaged by Varric, who wants to push Future Industries into a position to have to sell to him because he wants their assets to profit off the Civil War. Varric also starts pushing propaganda films to push Republic City into supporting open war starring Bolin and inciting terror attacks on Republic City to blame the North. Holy shit! Civil war that builds on material introduced in The Last Airbender, war propaganda, and a war profiteer all connected with each other, and we're only halfway through the season by this point. The amount of detail and complicated storytelling on display is amazing, and it's the first time that the show really grabs you by the nuts and never lets go, as even minor fights between main characters start carrying a lot of tension because you've seen what kind of domino effect it can have on the rest of the story. You even get old school plot divergences with Tenzin going on vacation with his family, who are still the best characters in the show. This is the kind of writing that
shouldn't this be in the positive?
I remember him referencing
series needed so much.
Her referencing the lemur episode is bad, unless I'm remembering wrong. So I'm confused why.
Hold on, I need to open this fucking door. This cat is being annoying as fuck. I'm playing it though.
More of. A densely packed and interconnected story that takes full advantage of the fact that the series is running on a continuous narrative and can keep throwing curveballs at you with new developments and playing off material we established a few episodes ago to guide said curveballs right into your groin. Well, that all sounds great, you might be saying. So what's the problem? Well, we still have another half of the season to go, that's what. After departing to seek help from the Fire Lord, Korra is ambushed by a dark spirit and washes up on the shores of the Fire Sages. Where we're treated to the real reason the dark spirits are running rampant and Unalaq is hungry for power, and the origin of the Avatar. Okay. The Avatar is the result of a light spirit permanently fusing with a human in a constant state of reincarnation to endlessly do battle with a dark spirit who wants to burn all mortal life in the world every 10,000 years. And Unalaq wants to release the dark spirit, and everything he's been doing has just been a means to an end. Because what this story about the chaotic interplay between the four elements built off Eastern mythology needed was God and Satan. Objectively good and evil, light versus dark proselytizing. That's the kind of nuanced attitude we need in this show. Anyway, as tension for
Wait, no, guys. Is that motherfucker ragging on the fact that there need to be balance? Yeah, nigga, fuck nuance.
Plus, it wasn't just like pure evil versus pure good. It was quote unquote evil and chaos, and then like serenity and good. Like there was a yin to yang, you know. Which, by the way, we've seen also in Avatar with the koi fish. There was the sun in the moon spirit, who just live in a pond and apparently in the South Pole for some reason, but they're spirits. Like,
see, it's crazy. It's crazy to think that this motherfucker is complaining about that.
Is that motherfucker in she pronouns or male pronouns?
That motherfucker is spelled M-O. Oh, well, do I start with that or do I start with motherfucker? M-O-T-H-E-R-F-U-C-K-A. That motherfucker. Gender neutral. That's why the A's there. For well, what's the A in LGB?
I don't know, man.
Asexual. Yeah, they're for asexual.
Pause it. Give me a second.